Hello everybody and welcome here to White House Field, where it is time for another edition of Harwich Mariners Baseball here on the Mariners YouTube network. And Harwich will be here at home. They will be hosting the Cotuit Cavaliers, a team that has had their fair share of success recently as they sit in second place right now in the Western Division. And of course, following a tough loss on the road last night to the Orleans Firebirds, the Mariners find themselves back in the basement of the East. But still a lot of baseball to be played, including a stretch here, Colin, where Harwich will get an opportunity to face off against five teams in the West, a division that they have historically done an excellent job against this season.
Yeah, they certainly have done a nice job, and especially at home. They only have one loss all season long against Western opponents, that one coming against the Bourne Braves. But other than that, it's been a perfect record here at White House Field. And we saw Menendez his last time out had a pretty good start. He had that one mistake pitch on that solo home run that he gave up, but Menendez pitching as a starter for the first time. Well, this will be his second start now, and it looked like he felt pretty comfortable, especially after that rough outing he had to begin the year. He's gotten a little bit better every single start, and is hoping to maybe have another strong starting pitching performance for the Mariners, something we've seen a lot of this season.
Yeah, pretty comfortable might even be understating it a little bit, as he pitched an absolute gem, went 6 complete innings, gave up just 1 earned run, also gave up 1 hit and 8 strikeouts to only 1 walk. So he was just cutting down hitter after hitter, and he'll have a tall task as he will face off against a Cotuit lineup that has just been terrorizing opposing pitching all season long, and they will try to get things started here against the Mariners. Let's look at the lineup for the Cotuit Cavaliers. Standing in from the right side and leading things off will be the DH today, Christian Robinson. Then out and right will be Aubrey Major. First baseman, Mason McCorder. Second baseman, Joey Loperfido. Left fielder, Parker Chavers. Center fielder, Donta Williams. Catcher, Cody Pasek. Third baseman, Casey Schmidt. And shortstop, Adam Oviedo. So Robinson will lead things off here for the Cotuit Cavaliers, and it'll be, as we mentioned, Antonio Menendez out there on the bump. The first pitch that the side armor throws is going to be in there for a called strike, and that'll let us set the defense here for the Harwich Mariners. Pat Winkle gets the start behind the dish. Nico Cavadas moves back over to first base. Christian Fedko at second. Hal Hughes at short. Corey Acton at third as the 0-1 pitch is swung on. Menendez took a little something off that one, and it's an 0-2 count here. Chris Gallen gets the start out in left field. Dylan Noisy in center, and Daniel Cabrera will play in right. Mariners looking for a bounce-back game, again, after a tough loss to Orleans yesterday. Here comes the pitch for Menendez, and it'll miss outside to Robinson.
It was more the same against Orleans. Mariners taking an early lead, but the Firebirds fighting back, something we've seen 3 times this year. But the Mariners still have 3 more games against Orleans.
This one's going to be taken hard to second. Fedko comes across, picks it up, and throws on the first in time to retire the first out of the game. And Colin, that'll bring up a guy that I know you were familiar with last year that I got a chance to see in 2019 as well. It's Aubrey Major out of Oregon State, and he has been on an absolute tear so far here in the Cape.
Yeah, it was just a small sample size with Valley Blue Sox last year for Aubrey Major, but we did see some of the power that we saw, or that we kind of expected from him, and he was just a formidable force. I mean, 6'5", 200 pounds, definitely not an easy guy to pitch to.
This one's taken right back at Menendez. It gets off his glove, and there will be no play to be made as that rolls onto the outfield grass. So Aubrey Major will reach here. We'll see what the ruling on that one is, and they're going to give him a base hit as they should. As again, not a lot Menendez could have done about that. It's some weak contact back up the middle, but it's good for the first base runner of the afternoon here for the Cotuit Cavaliers.
Major batting from the left side in that one. He's actually grown since he was in Holyoke last year. He's up to 6'6" now, 205, so getting even bigger and stronger, and he really muscled up that one, get it through the glove of Menendez up the middle for the first hit of the game for Cotuit.
So a runner on first. That'll bring up Mason McCorder playing first base today for the Cotuit Cavaliers. He stands in from the right side of Menendez's first pitch. Runner takes off. Good throw down to second. Actually, it's way over the head there of Hal Hughes, and that wasn't the best jump in the world. They may have been able to catch Major, but a bad throw there by Pat Winkle sails over the glove, and that'll put a runner in scoring position here with 1 away.
Yeah, Pat pretty much just airmailed that ball. As you mentioned, Major just kind of had his feet stuck in the mud trying to break to second on that one. Didn't have a ton of speed coming in, and then Winkle had plenty of time to throw down, but looked like he got a little over anxious and threw it almost into center field, but luckily backed up well by Hal Hughes.
So it'll be a 1-0 count here as Menendez working out of the stretch. Runner in scoring position to start the game for a Cotuit squad that has been scoring runs seemingly at will this year, and see whether or not they can continue that streak. Although this is a game that Harwich may be favored to win when you look at the splits. We'll get into that in a moment as the 0-1 pitch, or the 1-0 pitch is swung on and missed. So against the Eastern Division, this is a Cotuit squad that comes in today at 5-6-2. But when those games have been on the road, they're 1-4-1. So it's been a very tough bout for this Cotuit squad when facing off against the Eastern Conference away from the comforts of Lowell Park. Long look in here. Menendez will come set, checks Major back to second, checks him again, and then brings the pitch home, and that one is going to miss low for ball one.
You have to wonder maybe if the travel has to do anything with maybe struggling on the road for Cotuit. I mean, it's not a quick drive at all for any of these teams, especially if you go to the easternmost part of the Cape, including Orleans and Brewster. Those are some pretty far drives out in West Barnstable.
Menendez will check the runner back to second. Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you look at the East, everything is very bunched up. From one side to the other, you have the, we could jokingly call it a lengthy trip from Orleans out to, is it Brewster? Would be the furthest team west in the Eastern Division?
I think we are.
Oh, is it Harwich?
Oh, wait, no, YD.
YD.
Yep.
So the 1-2 pitch, that's going to be swung on and taken high in the air. That one out in left field, coming in and sliding into the bullpen. Unable to make the catch was Chris Galland. Pretty good effort out there, but it'll still be a 1-2 count here. So yeah, from YD and all the way to Orleans is the worst trip you have to make on the eastern side, but then the west gets a lot more spread out. You can go all the way off the Cape if you're talking about the Wareham Gateman.
Yeah, even Hyannis to Wareham is a good 35, 40 minutes. And that's without traffic.
Right. Try to do that around 4th of July, as we found out, and it's a lot more difficult. So Menendez has a 1-2 count here on Mason McWhorter. Here comes the pitch, and that one's just going to miss off the outside edge. McWhorter putting together a pretty impressive season of his own here for this Falmouth squad, or for this Cotuit squad, hitting .323 out of Georgia Southern. He stands in now with a 2-2 count. Harwich has one away here in the top half of the first. Menendez checks and deals. That's also going to miss outside, so clearly trying to get McWhorter to chase something off the plate, but McWhorter not biting.
Yeah, no surprise to see Menendez pitch carefully to this part of the order. They went 6 for 12 collectively yesterday with 5 of the 6 RBIs.
So Menendez has a full count here. He's going to have to put something in the zone to McWhorter, who stands in at the ready. Menendez comes to the belt, kicks and fires, and that one's just going to miss outside. So called ball 4, and that'll put runners on first and second with one away for the cleanup man, Joey Loperfido.
Yeah, that one didn't miss by much by Menendez. He was looking to catch that outside corner, but didn't get the benefit of the call. Now with 2 on and 1 away, he's got to face a cleanup hitter in Joey Loperfido.
Antonio Menendez could be the missing piece in the puzzle for the Harwich Mariners when you talk about their starting rotation, but he's only had 1 start. This is his second, trying to kind of get comfortable. But he's gotten himself into some trouble here with runners on first and second and 1 away. Infield is at double play depth for the ever-dangerous Joey Loperfido, who will watch the first pitch in there for strike 1 around the knees. So getting ahead here is Menendez, and Loperfido in the cleanup spot for a good reason. Just 9 hits for him this year, but he has added a home run to that number. One of the later arrivals here to this Cotuit squad. So here comes the 0-1 pitch. That one's going to they're going to call it in there for strike 2. I wondered about that. Delayed call there by the home plate umpire, Doug Isham. And his counterparts will be Tom Ryberg over there at first and Mike Hinjosa over at third. So no 2 count. Menendez is ahead of Loperfido here. We'll shorten up on the bat a bit. Here comes the pitch. In there for a called strike 3, and Joey Loperfido is the first strikeout victim of the day to Antonio Menendez.
Yeah, great job by Menendez to be aggressive, even with facing that cleanup man. He's able to get him to look like a backdoor off-speed pitch, and that completely fooled Loperfido. So now a great opportunity to get out of the inning with no damage done, as Parker Chavers will try to keep things alive for Cotuit.
Yep, but it'll be a tall task. Parker Chavers, one of the most feared bats on this team. He comes in batting .270 today, so looking to expand on the success that he's found, and he can do it with 2 outs and a couple runners in scoring position. First pitch that he sees is going to be off speed. That'll miss outside for ball 1, and that'll give us a chance to remind you of Antonio Menendez's toolkit as he works from 3 different arm slots. He can go over the top, a 3/4 delivery, or a straight sidearm delivery. He has a fastball from all 3, a curveball from the overhand, and the 2 sidearm slots will give him a slider. 1-0 pitch is going to be in there for a called strike on the inner half, and Colley's doing a really good job mixing up locations between inside and outside.
He certainly has been. He's been big on command on both the inside and outside part of the plate, and that's really something you could say about pretty much every starting pitcher for the Harwich Mariners. They've done a phenomenal job over the last couple of weeks. Go deep into ball games.
1-1 for Menendez, smoked down the line and fair. That's going to score at least one run, but no, they're going to call this. They're going to say foul. It looked like it was on the left side of the line. You kind of saw that signal given by the third base coach, but ultimately it is on the wrong side of the chalk for the Cotuit Kettleers, and that is a lifesaver for the Mariners, as that would have scored at least one.
Yeah, Doug Issam was the one who made the call behind the plate, because over at second, I believe that is Mike Sosa, who is over at second instead of third because with the runner on base, so he didn't really have a great angle at that. Issam was the one who made the call, and looked like he did have a good spot to make that call, and I think it was the right one, albeit it was very, very close.
So the Mariners will catch a much-needed break here. Now time is called as Menendez taking a lot of time to think about this. But yeah, I mean, you have the three umpires, and of course they have to rotate around based on where the runners are. So because Aubrey Major's standing on second, that chases Kinjosa off his line. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. That one swung on and taken the other way into right field, but tracking it down, settling under it, and making the catch is Dylan Noisy for out number 3. So the side is retired in the first half of the first inning. Harwich and Cotuit knotted up at 0 apiece when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey as we get set for the second half of the first inning. Harwich will look to take another early lead. And Colin, this is a team that has been doing a lot of that lately in terms of getting out ahead of teams. They were unable to do it yesterday against the Orleans Firebirds, but they did fight back to tie it, and they just couldn't come up with any late runs once again.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it's one of those games where offensively you kind of struggle to put something together. That's exactly what it was. I mean, you look at Orleans, despite having that tough losing streak of 6 in a row, they're now actually on a 2-game winning streak with a win yesterday, but they're a really talented team, especially pitching-wise. And even when Dawson McCarville, the guy that the Mariners were able to get 2 runs across, even when he was able to figure it out, he's a very tough guy to stop. So sometimes, you know, you can't win them all for the Mariners. They've been playing some of their better baseball over the last week or two, and they got a great opportunity against the West. They got a little bit of a break against Eastern Division opponents before all of a sudden those Eastern games kind of stack up towards the final 2 weeks of the season. So if you're the Mariners, just, you know, today's a new day, and try to win this front end of the home and home between them and the Cotuit Kettleers.
We'll have a tall task to face as Reed Johnson will be starting things for the Cotuit Kettleers out there on the pitcher's mound. And let's take a look at what he's done this season. It's been a phenomenal season as he has a 1-0 record, a .82 ERA through 3 games, and 4 strikeouts to only 2 walks. A guy that likes to pitch to contact. He's not one of those overpowering pitchers that comes in and tries to strike everybody out, but he has been awfully effective this year, and Harwich is going to have a tall time trying to get runs off of him. Let's take a look at the Harwich lineup. It'll be Dylan Noisy leading things off from the left side. He stands in now, and the first pitch that he gets from Johnston is going to be in there for strike 1. After Noisy, it'll be the DH Daniel Cabrera, second baseman Christian Fedko, Nico Cavadas at first, Pat Winkle, your catcher today, right fielder Mike Ludwig, left fielder Chris Gallant, third baseman Corey Acton, and shortstop Hal Hughes as the 0-1 pitch is in there for strike 2, and Noisy has fallen behind here early in the count.
One thing I noticed about Johnson this season, he has gotten enormous run support in most of his games with 11 and 16 runs in his last 2 starts.
Noisy, a little half-hearted check swing will foul this down the first base line, and he hasn't really needed it as he's only given up 1 earned run this entire season. So one of the better starters out there today for Cotuit. Of course, in his 3 appearances, all 3 of them were starts, so he is not a guy that has come out of the bullpen at any point this season. And here, a little over halfway through the Cape League season, he's getting another big-time opportunity. Very quietly, Colin, the clock is ticking down on the 2019 year as we're already 26 games into this season. It only spans 44 games. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Noisy will watch that go by, and it's strike 3. The first out of the game for the Mariners comes via the K, and that'll bring up Daniel Cabrera with 1 away.
Good location on the outside corner from Johnston.
Number
Noisy
4,
really couldn't believe it, but it looked like that might have had some two-seam movement coming back over the plate. Very tough pitch to pick up when it's a righty against righty matchup. So we'll see if Daniel Cabrera, batting from the left side, will fare better against Johnston.
Yep, so Cabrera will step in from the right side, the DH today. First pitch he sees is going to miss high and inside. Actually, they're going to call that in the strike zone, apparently. So it'll be an 0-1 count to Daniel Cabrera, who's been hitting very well the last couple of days. And he'll take the 0-1 pitch here and smash it down into the right center field hole. That's going to be stopped by Major, and he's turning for second. He's going to be thrown out by a mile. Boy, it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be when he rounded second. Some very aggressive base running by Daniel Cabrera, and a good throw out in center by Williams to get him for out number 2.
Yeah, that ball, it looked like it might have gotten into the gap right off the bat, but it kind of slowed down as it came towards the ground. And able to field it on a hop was Williams. He kind of just picked it up, quickly fired it in second. And yeah, as you mentioned, Tyler, it really wasn't all that close of a play. It just needed a decent throw and a little bit too aggressive out of Daniel Cabrera early in this game.
So the bases stay empty for Christian Fedko, and the first pitch he sees is going to be in there for strike 1. So boy, really pounding the strike zone here is Reed Johnson, as I don't know that he's thrown more than 1 pitch outside of the zone yet. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That one's going to be raked down the left field line, but hooking foul, and that's where it will stay. So another man will fall behind here, 0-2. Johnston is on the doorstep of a very quick first inning.
For a second, that looked kind of reminiscent of the 1 home run that Christian Fedko hit this season down the left field line here at White House Field, but pulled that ball a little bit too much, and we've seen that over the last couple of days, the Mariners, where they're getting a little over-anxious on good pitches to hit, end up yanking it foul.
So Johnson from the windup brings home the 0-2, and that'll miss low and away for ball 1. Fedko is trying to get back on track after hitting as well as 390 at one point on the season. He has really fallen behind the 8 ball here, looking for his first hit in quite some time. The 1-2 will take that one up the middle. This one's got a chance, but it's going to be, wow, right through the wickets as he is going to nutmeg Adam Oviedo, and it'll be ruled in air here. How about that?
Yeah, it looked like what happened on that play was as Oviedo came to get himself in position to field that ground ball, his left leg kind of slid out from underneath him, which also brought his glove hand further to the left as well. So the ball kind of ended up going just to the right of his glove. Couldn't get a handle on it, and that error is going to keep things alive with one of the most dangerous hitters in the league coming to the plate.
So Cavada stands in. That'll force Reed Johnston to go from the stretch here. He throws over on Fedko, and it's going to be not in time. Fedko has probably been thrown over on more than anybody else on the team, despite having just the 1 stolen base this year. So they're keeping a very close eye on Christian Fedko over at first. Here comes the pitch. That one will be chopped foul by Nico Cavadas, who actually ended an 11-game hitting streak yesterday, and people are starting to wonder whether or not we're cursed, because it seems like whoever we interview in the pregame, and Coach P brought this up to me yesterday, it seems like whoever we interview doesn't do so well. So maybe we should start interviewing the hot players on the other teams before games. Cavada stands in. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. That one's going to be in there for a strike, and there's that two-seam movement that you mentioned, Colin, a little late tailing action on that fastball.
Back to that error for Oviedo. It's the 34th error committed this season by Cotuit. That makes their fielding percentage right now 9th out of 10.
Quick throw over to first, just narrowly getting back in time is Christian Fedko, but he will be safe, and Cavadas will focus up here on the pitcher again.
But generally speaking, fielding percentage kind of very bunched across the entire league.
0-2 pitch on its way. Cavadas leans out and sends that back over the hill down the left field line. So that's out of play. And Colin, I don't think we've seen a single ball from Reed Johnston yet.
Yeah, he's really been pounding the strike, so not afraid to attack these Mariners hitters, which is pretty interesting considering how hot some of these guys at the top of the order have been, especially Cabrera and Fedko.
Speaking of which, Fedko just got way off the bag over at first and stepping off the rubber to think things over is Reed Johnston. He could have had him dead to rights if he had thrown back over, but I don't think he saw it in time.
Seemed like he was a third of the way already towards second base.
So here comes the 0-2 to Cavadas. Big swing and a miss, strike three, and Nico is down on strike. So the Mariners go quietly, but they make a little bit of noise doing it as they get two runners on base. Either way, it's going to be 0-0 when we come back in the second inning here on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network. Back to baseball here, White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey as we get into the second inning of play, and it'll be the middle of the order, or part of it at least. Dante Williams, Cody Pasek, and Casey Schmidt. And boy, Dante Williams has been one of the hottest bats in the lineup all season long for Cotuit. I know we've said that about a couple of the guys they have at the top, but Williams is kind of just a freak in nature, and coming out of the University of Arizona, he will try to get things started here for the Kettleers of Cotuit.
Himself a pretty good throw to get Daniel Cabrera back in the bottom half of the first.
Williams will watch that, and actually the numbers that I wanted to bring up were a line above, and that was from Aubrey Major. He's hitting a cool 400 on the year, but still a pretty good season so far for Dante Williams. Standing on the right side, and he's going to rake this one down the right field line. It is far, and it is gone. Solo shot. And the Cotuit Kettleers are going to take a 1-0 lead here on Harwich in the second.
Well, I guess he channeled his inner Aubrey Major once you read his numbers like that, as he just turned on a pitch. And Menendez, we know, has had trouble with keeping the ball in the ballpark over the last couple of starts, and that ball launched over the right field fence by Williams. So Cotuit grabbing an early lead as they look to kind of buck that trend against Eastern teams on the road tonight against the Harwich Mariners.
Fortunately for Harwich, they didn't have to deal with that ball. Or it's only a one-run home run, but that'll bring up Cody Pasek now, and he will rake one the other way. This one's going into deep left field, but that'll still stay well in the ballpark as Chris Gallen tracks it down for out number one.
Well, these last couple of swings have shown why Cotuit leads the league in home runs. Just so much power up and down this lineup, and that's even without guys like Nick Gonzalez and Araja New in their lineup. Both these guys not starting, but still power left and right. And saw Williams send one over the fence, then a long ball there from Cody Pasek, but Chris Gallen had to run that down in the gap. So Menendez trying to get back to where he was in the first inning and try to get some key outs for his team.
And it goes to show, I mean, once these guys get comfortable with the wooden bats, this is the kind of potential that they all have. The first pitch from Menendez will miss low and inside to Casey Schmidt. So, you know, even as you mentioned, even without Araja New and a couple other guys in the lineup, Anu who has been hitting home runs left and right this season, they still have a pretty good offense. As this first or second pitch will miss low and outside, and it's a 2-0 count.
The first home run given up by Harwich Mariners pitching in the last 5 games. To go back to that walk-off home run for the Falmouth Commodores.
This one's going to be taken out into right field. That's going to get down in the Bermuda Triangle between Christian Fedko, Daniel Cabrera, and Dylan Noisy. And with one away, it's a runner on base here for the Cotuit Kettleers.
Yep, not as good of contact as we've seen so far this inning for Schmidt, but it gets the job done. Pooches it right over the second baseman Fedko's head. And look at the production from the bottom half of the lineup for Cotuit. It has been impressive so far, first time through the lineup. And here's Adam Oviedo, who actually broke up a no-hitter in the 9th against Harwich the last time these two teams played.
Yeah, it was a weird three-pitcher combined no-hitter where Cotuit had gotten like 7 guys on base. But yeah, Harwich still had a no-hitter going into the ninth, and this was the man who broke it up. Here he finds himself in the 9 hole, the shortstop today, hitting at the bottom of the Cotuit lineup, and he has a runner on first and 1 away. Menendez back out of the stretch. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Late delayed steal. Throw would have been in time, but unable to pick it there was Christian Fedko. No.
We got batter interference here, and looks like Oviedo's going to be called out, and the runner's going to be sent back to first.
Wow. So batter interference, and it absolutely got it right, but that's not one you see for too often. And so the runner goes back to first. It's going to be Oviedo out for the second out of the inning.
Yeah, we'll actually have to go and take a look at that one again and see exactly what Oviedo did on that. But we got a discussion now with the third base coach and the umpire, and he is not happy at all.
So we'll take a look at it. I believe this is the pitch, as we'll have our replay up here on the booth. And yeah, oh, absolutely. You see Oviedo actually turns his body into the, like, not intentionally, I don't think, but he turns his body in, and now we have a full-blown argument out there between the umpire and the field manager for the Cotuit Cavaliers, and this could get ugly really quickly as, boy, Mike Roberts is out there giving him a piece of his mind. But they got the call right, Colin. I mean, we can look here on the replay, and if you're watching this at home, you can actually back it up and take a look for yourself. I mean, he completely and totally did go into the catcher's throwing path.
Yeah, this is a long, long discussion taking place on the third baseline, and it is getting increasingly hot-tempered.
I'm amazed Roberts hasn't already been tossed. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. Coach Engler's yelling at him now, as are some of the Harwich players. And again, I mean, some really calm temperament here by Doug Issam, who has yet to toss him, is now, and Joseph's going to come over and get in on the fun. But yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot that you can really dispute there, as Oviedo completely turned his back into the throwing path of Pat Winkle.
Number 21, the designated hitter from Stanford, Christian Robinson.
Discussion finally ending, surprisingly, with no ejection. Is, believe me, that was no how's your day going over down the third baseline. That was a full-fledged argument, but no ejections levied, and now the bases will be empty with 2 down. Or actually, the runner will be at first now instead of at second.
So staying at first is Casey Schmidt. Throwing over to first is Antonio Menendez, and nothing doing there. It'll be the leadoff man, Christian Robinson, up for a second time. He grounded it out to second his first time up, and he'll get back in there. But yeah, back to the interference call. I mean, it was weird. I've never seen a guy do that before. As another pickoff attempt is unsuccessful. Oviedo, he swung at the pitch, and then he just kind of backed his way over to home plate, and Winkle had to come over the top. He almost had to hit him as he threw that ball. So, you know, they got the call absolutely 100% right, and there's an out because of it. And now Roberts wants to talk to his batter, delaying the game even further.
Seems like he might not be happy with his batter either. As I don't know, this has been a weird inning. That's all I have to say. It started with a home run, and now all of a sudden, despite the lead, Cotuit has been in a couple of situations where their manager has almost gotten tossed from this ball game.
So Christian Robinson will stand back in. Casey Schmidt, the runner on first. Harwich trying to prevent any more runs from coming across. They only need 1 more out to get out of this inning. Menendez from the stretch, sets, kicks, and fires, and that one's going to be in there for a called strike 1. Plenty of other games going on in the Cape League right now. It's the YD Red Sox currently on top of the Brewster Whitecaps. That's refreshing news for the Harwich Mariners. They lead that one 5-1. This pitch is just narrowly going to miss outside to even the count at 1-1. Bourne has taken a 2-0 lead over the Wareham Gatemen, and then 3 other games that will be going on later. Well, or 2 other games, I should say. Falmouth heads to Veterans Field in Chatham, and Orleans will be back at Eldridge tonight to host the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Another throw over to first, and he's in there in time.
And with another Bourne win, they would separate themselves even further from Hyannis, who's just continued to be unable to get off the ground, losers of 3 straight.
Here comes the 1-1 pitch, swung on and taken back up the middle. Menendez can't get there. Hughes charging. He'll throw to first, and it's going to be in time for the 3rd out of the inning. More dazzling defense from Hal Hughes, and that'll retire the side, but not before a solo shot gives Cotuit a 1-0 lead. When we come back, Harwich will try to get it back. And before we can, coming out to have another word with the home plate umpire is Mike Roberts, and he's still talking. How Doug Isham has not thrown him out yet is beyond me, and now he's going to come back. We're going to keep it right here because this could certainly develop into something. Coach Englert is coming out and having a word with Isham as well. Oh boy. Mike Roberts has not left the field yet. He is still standing out there, and currently he's just kind of waiting for Coach Englert to finish talking to Doug Isham, and now he's still out there chatting it up.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think you just got to cut your losses if you're
Cameras and video cameras
Roberts. I mean, your team had a good inning, put up a couple of guys on base, have a solo home run, and taken the lead. I mean, all you're doing right now is kind of generating a distraction for your team who's gotten off to a good start on the road, but it's like he's finally going to walk over towards dugout, shaking his head.
Yeah, Issam's just kind of grinning at him now, pointing it back to his dugout. So, yeah, I mean, that was awfully weird, but again, credit to Doug Isham. I mean, he kept his composure. He kind of let Roberts speak his mind, and I'm sure if anything too offensive was said, he would have been gone, but Isham leaves him in there, and he'll continue. So for the Harwich Mariners, it'll be Pat Winkle, Mike Ludwig, and Chris Gallant coming up to bat here, and they will try to get things started for a Mariners offense that has been stifled through the first inning, currently trailing at 1-0.
We got a couple of guys coming to play for the Mariners who've kind of started to drive in more and more runs after getting off to relatively slow starts, and that is Pat Winkle and Mike Ludwig. Ludwig actually got off to a pretty good start, but every single hit he got, it seemed like no one was on base at the time. So now that he's finally gotten some RBI opportunities, taking advantage of it, first Winkle will look to try to start a big inning here in the second for the Mariners.
So Winkle stands in. First pitch he sees is a fastball that he'll take right at the shortstop. It'll be picked up by Oviedo, who throws on to first for out number 1. And yeah, here comes Mike Ludwig. We were just talking about a moment ago. It seems like, and I remember there was a point, I think 13 or 14 games into the season, where he was hitting 364 and didn't have a single RBI yet. So he has finally gotten some opportunities there. But at the beginning of the year, he kept getting on, but it was him that was being driven in, not the other way around. So here comes Mike Ludwig, who has cooled off a bit since that point. First pitch he sees is off speed, and that one will miss high and away.
I believe this is the first time Ludwig's actually been in the field for quite some time, since that game on the road against Brewster back on July 3rd.
He will sky this one high in the air out to left field in foul territory, and that will get out of play. So it's still been a pretty good year for Mike Ludwig as an overall product. He's hitting .241, and he does have 2 RBIs now. So far, just the 2 extra base hits. Both of them came via the double variety, as he'll swing through the 1-0 pitch and even the count. Actually, it should be a 1-2 count now. So it's 1-2. Reed Johnson, the windup and the pitch. And that one's going to be fouled away back to the Cotuit dugout. So all things considered, all the drama, all the craziness that happened the last half inning, it's just a 1-run deficit here for the Mariners, and this is certainly one that they could overcome. But it will not be Harwich getting out to their patented early game lead as the 1-2 pitch comes home. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Mike Ludwig is down on strikes. The 3rd strikeout victim of the day for Reed Johnson.
And he's really had that off-speed pitch working. I think all 3 of his strikeouts so far have been some sort of off-speed. So if you're the Mariners, you might want to change your approach and start looking for that instead of the fastball, and maybe adjust to the fastball if you end up getting it. We'll see what Chris Gallant does.
This is Chris Gallant, who had a pretty good day yesterday. First pitch he sees is going to be something off speed, and that will miss for ball 1. Of course, just a day ago in a loss, he went 2 for 4. He had an RBI single and a run scored. So pretty good day for Chris Gallen. They will appeal down to third, and they say he did check his swing there, so the count here is 1-1. Should be 1-1. This pitch will be fouled away, and should be a 1-2 count.
Gallen from Boston College, and we've talked about several times in the broadcast how he had such a huge start to the season.
Here he will chop one foul down the third baseline, so count stays 1-2. Gallen looking to start things with 2 outs for Harwich, as again it seems like they've done some of their best work with 2 away. That strategy did not seem to hold up yesterday, but it was a really weird game with Orleans. A couple of kind of wild plays driving in runs on both sides. Here comes the 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Reed Johnston is feeling it as he gets the last 2 guys via the K. His 4th strikeout of the day, and the Mariners remain silent. We go to the visitors' half of the 3rd inning when we come back. It is a 1-0 lead for Cotuit here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball action here at White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey, and it's going to be part of the top of the order, including Aubrey Major, who reached on a single and came around on a stolen base. And a very dangerous hitter here at the top of the lineup, hitting 400 on the year out of Oregon State. Menendez back out there. Here comes the first pitch, and Major's going to take that one up the right side, but coming in is Fedko, and a tough throw is going to be there in time for the first out of the inning.
Major, a big-time pull hitter, was able to rip that towards the right side of the infield, but Fedko got a solid amount of speed over at second base, plenty of range, and came all the way over to make that play. So much needed first out to begin the 3rd after Menendez giving up a home run to begin the 2nd.
So here comes Mason McWhorter, who will stand in for a second time today. He reached on a walk back in the 3rd inning, or in the 1st inning. Here hitting in the 3rd, here comes the pitch from Menendez, and that one will be on the outside edge for strike 1. So Menendez looking to get through another inning without giving up too much, as he gave up just a solo shot to lead off the 2nd. Aside from that, no runs have come across, but Cotuit, an ever dangerous lineup. A lot of power on this team, 1 through 9. I remember early in the season, this team had, I believe, 14 home runs, as this will miss low, but the 2nd team in the league at that point only had 6. So a team that has been a powder keg when it comes to home runs. They've got 25, now 26 on the year, as Menendez's 2-1 delivery is in there for a strike. To put that in perspective, the Harwich Mariners enter this game with only 10 home runs, and 4 of those have been hit by Nico Cavadas. The 2-2 check swing, they look down, and he did go. So it's going to be strikeout number 2 for Antonio Menendez, and that's 2 away in the inning.
And back to the ferocious offense of the Kettleers. They also came in today tied for first in runs batted in, but with the solo home run, for the time being, they take the lead over Wareham, who has been held scoreless so far as they take on the Bourne Braves.
Yep, they have 131 RBIs this season, so a team that definitely knows how to drive in runs. Comes at a bit of a cost, though, as they're also one of the top teams in strikeouts. This one taken out to left. Gallen will settle under it and make the catch for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down for the Mariners in the top half of the third. Now they'll come back and try to get the bats started. It'll be Acton, Hughes, and Noisy due up when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey as we go to the home half of the third inning. Harwich will have the bottom third of the order here. It'll be Corey Acton, Hal Hughes, and then back to the top with Dylan Noisy. And the offense has been a little bit slow to get off the ground today. The only base runners coming from a Daniel Cabrera hit and then a Christian Fedko error. So Harwich still looking for their first legitimate runner as even Cabrera was thrown out from right instead of having a straight-up hit.
And a big reason for this slow start for the Harwich Mariners at the plate has been the pitching of Reed Johnson, the NC State product, just missing bats left and right, 4 strikeouts and 7 batters. And the 8-9-1 guys, he'll look to add to that total and continue a dominant start, something that we haven't seen a whole lot of from opposing pitchers over the last couple of days. You just go back to that Falmouth game where we saw that 10 strikeout performance from the opposing pitcher Lezinski.
So it'll be Corey Acton to lead things off here for Harwich to start the third inning. And Acton looking to get himself back on the right side of things. The first pitch is on its way to him, and that'll be fouled back to us. So another strike delivered here by Reed Johnson, who just continues to pound the strike zone. And we'll see whether or not he comes right back at Corey Acton again here.
And it's not only been effective as getting outs in play, but striking guys out.
Next pitch is going to be fouled away once again. So another guy he's gotten in an 0-2 hole. That's the 5th time that's happened today. Harwich guys just kind of getting behind the 8 ball here against Johnston. So Johnston looking to get another K here. He's gotten the last 2 in a row that he's faced and 3 of the last 4. The 0-2 pitch, and that one will be fought off as Corey Acton shortening up on his swing a little bit.
Something I've seen a lot of pattern-wise from Johnson so far is a lot of hard stuff in and a lot of breaking stuff out. So maybe that's planned, but so far it's been effective.
Here comes the 0-2. That one's going to be skipped into Corey Acton well in front of home plate, so an easy ball to lay off of there, and Acton will stand back in.
I do remember in that strikeout against Nico Cavadas, one of the things you got to do with Cavadas if you're going to throw him a fastball is get him jammed, and that's exactly what he did. He had him tied up.
1-2, Acton's going to take this one, but right at second, charging in and throwing on to first in time for the first out of the inning is Loper Fido, 1 away.
So after
Number 19, the shortstop
a
from
single
LSU,
from Daniel
Hal
Cabrera, the lone
Hughes.
hit back in the first, and then an error from Christian Fedko. Since then, it's been 5 in a row retired by Johnston.
So after yesterday, everybody on this Harwich roster is hitting right at or above 150. There were a couple of guys that were kind of lagging behind, but they seem to have picked it up here in the last couple of days as Hal Hughes will take a strike. As it seemed like Hal Hughes and Max Marshak got off to a bit of a slow start. Both of them bounced back with pretty good games over the past few days. Here comes the 0-1. That's going to be taken up the middle, and once again right at the second baseman Loper Fido, who throws him out for out number 2.
Yeah, Loper Fido getting a
Number
chance
10,
at second
the
bases.
center
Usually it's been Nick
fielder from
Gonzalez
Texas
over
Tech,
at second
Dylan
for the
Noisy.
Cotuit Kedliers, as he's been a big-time bat, especially at the top of the lineup, and you can obviously see why. I think he's hitting over 320 this season.
So back to the top of the order we go. Here comes Dylan Noisy, and the first pitch he sees has a lot of movement on it. Something off speed that is going to be in there for strike 1. Acton today, or Noisy, I should say, is 0 for 1. He has a strikeout in the first, and here he will foul one hard back towards the Cotuit dugout. And he falls behind 0 2. So this is the patented situation that Reed Johnson's been getting guys into left and right, and we'll see whether he can polish off another scoreless inning. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. That's going to miss low and just get past the outstretched glove of Cody Pasek.
Yeah, a lot of guys are kind of worried about attacking the zone in this Cape League because of how great the hitting is, but so far Johnson has just been fearless, going right after every single Mariner batter he's faced.
Here comes the 1-2. That one's going to be taken to short, picked up, and throwing across the diamond in time for the third out of the inning is Oviedo. So that'll do it for Harwich. We'll go on to the fourth inning of play, and it's still 1-0 lead for Cotuit right here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to the ballpark here at White House Field. Tyler Henry with you here, and I'm joined by a special guest. It's Kevin Sweeney, one of the ex-players for the Harwich Mariners, was on the team from 1994 to 1995. Really quickly, let me set the stage as Cotuit is up 1-0 here on the Mariners, and Menendez will deliver the first pitch. That's going to be hit a mile in the air here back near us. Pat Winkle gets to the fence, and it's going to be into the crowd. So really quickly, the batter is going to be Parker Chavers. And Kevin, thank you for joining us so much. We really appreciate it here on the Harwich broadcast. And how much have things changed since you were here last?
Well, it's the same field. The lights are bigger, they're taller, lights are brighter. But I'll tell you what, these guys are bigger, they're faster, and they're stronger than what I remember. This game's gotten quicker.
It certainly has. And one thing that we've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed it too, it seems like pitchers in this league just kind of get the ball and go. I mean, the hitter doesn't have to wait a whole long, or a long time, as this one is swung on and missed. And I mean, does it feel like the entire game has just sped up considerably since that point?
It's definitely sped up. I've definitely slowed down. So it's a combination, but I think it's these guys are better prepared. I think it really starts with the training that they come from their youth ages that we didn't have growing up. And I think these guys are a little bit more locked in. I remember when I played, the big attraction was, hey, we'll get you a part-time job in the morning so you can pay your host families and go play at night. And a lot of these guys don't work because they're training in the morning. They're pretty locked in. They know what they want. There's more information out there. There's better technology, and it shows. These guys are good.
So let's talk a little bit about you as Antonio Menendez will deliver the 0-2 pitch. That'll miss outside. You were the first ever minor league player of the year for the Arizona Diamondbacks. A pretty great performance for you down there. And let's take a look at those numbers just to give you a little refresher. As that year, I believe you hit .424, as this one is going to be hit foul. A .424 batting average, an OPS well over 1.2. And how great was that season for you? But more importantly, how good was it to take that next step to the next level?
Well, you know, I have to give credit to playing 2 summers in the Cape. I got humbled quickly here. Hit some home runs here, but there are a lot of holes in my swing that I had to fix, and I was able to make some adjustments through playing for two summers up here. And when I got drafted and went into pro ball, I still kind of pinch myself. I look at these numbers, and it feels like I was in Little League. But I think I had a better approach. I had a better idea what I was trying to do. And
Number 3,
yeah, and
center fielder,
had a little bit of luck, I think.
Arizona, Dante
So that'll bring up
Williams.
Dante Williams as Cavada steps on first for the first out. Williams, of course, at the solo shot that currently is the only deficit between these two teams. And just take me through, how difficult is it to move up to the next level? Because obviously, I mean, there are so many athletes that try to play baseball that barely make it to college. I mean, you yourself played at Mercyhurst, and then to move into a minor league system and compete with a bunch of, the cream of the crop again, how tough is that for a player?
What I found is this is really a game of attrition. It's last man standing because there's so much talent out there, and talent you definitely need to advance to the next level. But when everyone's got talent, there's got to be something different. Whether it means focus, it's really the mental toughness and the willingness to grind through. And I use the word grind. It's often overused now, but it's so true to where, the only time my body felt 100% was the day I walked into spring training. And then after that, you got bumps and bruises, aches and pains, and you got to get through it. I mean, playing a 7 o'clock game one night and then coming back for 1 o'clock the next day, it takes its toll over a 5-6 month period. And it's really the mental side of not giving away at bats and just grinding out each inning, each at bat, each game. And those guys seem to, the ones that succeed, the ones that don't get too high or low, they just oh, nice play. They just stay even keel, and they don't get too upset when things don't go their way. They don't get too excited when things are going well, and they just consistently
Number
approach
10,
it professionally, and
the
that's the
catcher from the
difference, I
University
think,
of
of
Maine,
the guys that stick
Cotuit,
around the game for a long period of time.
Fair
And
enough.
they obviously have to stay healthy.
Yeah, no, and health is kind of a huge factor. But I would say now, and even since you've played, there have been so many advances in modern medicine. I mean, we see guys out there doing pre-game stretches and stuff that you typically would never have seen back then. So do you think it's easier for guys now with the health stuff? I mean, you mentioned it's kind of a war of attrition, just trying to stay healthy. Do you think that that's a lot easier now, or do you think there are still a lot of guys that have to go through what you went through to try to take that next step?
I don't ever think it's easier. There's definitely more information out there. There's definitely more resources out there. But eventually, like anything else, when everyone has those same information, they have the same technology, it levels the playing field again, just at a higher level. But talking about the advancements they've made in medicine, after my first year in pro ball, I was in spring training and I popped something in my hip, and it ended up being a labrum, which back in the late 90s, no one really knew what a labral tear was in the hip. So it was treated as a quadricep pull that never got better. And then I kind of grinded through that, and then eventually played 2 more seasons, but I couldn't turn on the ball, I couldn't run. And nowadays, if you have that injury, you have the labrum repaired, and you're back in 6 months. That one pretty much ended any potential baseball for me.
So they'll bring up Casey Schmidt as Cody Pasek finds his way on first with a single, and the first pitch from Menendez will be in there for strike 1 low. Let's get back into your time with the Harwich Mariners in the Cape Cod Baseball League. What was your fondest memory during the time here at Harwich?
Fishing for striped bass at night. We'd check the newspaper back then because this is pre-internet times, pre-cell phone. We'd find out when the high tide was, and then we'd buy our bait before the game, keep it in the cooler, have our fishing stuff ready, and after the game was done, we'd go out to whatever pier it was in Chatham and start fishing for striped bass. That was a lot of fun. Also, I actually had fun bagging groceries at the A&P.
Really?
I think there was one in Dennis, which is now like a dollar store or something, and I remember I actually made some good friends there, and we hung out, and a couple of my teammates were co-baggers with me, and kind of look back and laugh. It was a lot of fun. But they were 2 magical summers. That's why I bring my family back here. It's just there's something magical about the innocence of the game. This is probably as competitive as this game is. This is the last year of innocence of the game before it becomes a pure business. These guys treat it like a business. They have to. That's their approach because they are going to be professionals, most of them. But this is the last time you play on the high school field, and you're not getting paid to play. And they may not have, a lot of these guys probably it's a downtick from the college programs with the stuff that's available to them in college versus coming here. But the innocence of the game, the purity of the game, there's a lure there that made me love the game again, because I got pretty bitter, as a lot of guys do when you have to make a living doing it, change your perspective of the game, and come back here and you remember why you love it.
So you played for Coach Engler, correct?
No, he came a couple years after me.
Okay, I knew it was around that time.
Yeah, so my first year I played for Bruce Petty, who at the time was a Division II coach at Shippensburg University in Pennsylvania. And then the second year was coach was University of Maine coach, Jay Kemble. He was the pitching coach at Maine, and that's who my coach was the second year. So one of the biggest differences, we only had like 2 coaches. Now they have a whole staff, 5, 6, 7, some trainers.
Yep.
The rosters are bigger now. We had, I think a 25-man roster maybe.
Oh boy.
Maybe a 20. I mean, we were getting playing time. And I do remember that. I just looked at a postcard from our team photo from 25 years ago. So that's changed a lot. And but I tell you what, these guys are pretty impressive.
Oh, absolutely. This will be Daniel Cabrera standing in. He's already got 1 single today, and he will swing at the first pitch he sees and drive that out to straightaway center field, where Williams will settle under it and make the catch for out number 1. So joined here, if you've just joined the broadcast, by Kevin Sweeney, ex-Harwich Mariner. And I want to ask, in addition to how much the league has changed, how much has the Cape changed since the last time that you were down here? Or at least since the 90s.
Great question. The traffic on Route 6 is consistently bad.
It is. On that we can agree.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still as beautiful as it was when I came out here. I mean, that's the beauty of it, is the history. They don't change it to keep I think the integrity of the architecture, and I think probably good zoning laws here to kind of make sure that when they do build, they're keeping it to the theme of what the Cape was originally designed for. Yeah, I think the beaches are still beautiful. Not much has changed. That's what's so attractive about this area of the country.
Christian Fedko will take that one to even the count at 1-1. And let me ask you this as well. So, or not ask necessarily, but in the time since you've gotten out of baseball, just tell us a little bit more about what you've gotten into now and kind of where you're at and what you're doing.
That's a great question. So I was a fourth-year college graduate draft pick. So I graduated from Mercyhurst College. 2 weeks later, drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks before they were even a major league team. And so I had a finance degree. I wanted to get into financial planning, but my first dream was to play Major League Baseball. And my goal was to make sure Plan B didn't come too soon. After my hip injury, I moved from Buffalo out to Phoenix because I loved the area, and I've been there for 20 plus years. And I started looking around to see different financial planning type businesses out there, and as a potential Plan B if baseball didn't work out. And I ended up starting in '99 with a brokerage firm as a financial advisor named Solomon Smith Barney, and I've been a financial advisor for this is my 21st year. Over time, it was kind of neat with some connections with baseball and just kind of being around. I've been blessed with working with some professional baseball players as clients, and now in fact I had 2 major league clients that were in the All-Star game a couple days ago. So that's been a lot of fun, being part of that and seeing their growth from the draft to the minor leagues, the big leagues, to All-Stars, to retirement, and so that's kind of been a nice niche, and that continues to expand over the years.
Which 2 All-Stars?
Kirby Yates, the closer for the Padres. He's leading the major leagues in saves, and catcher JT Realmuto with the Phillies.
It's crazy. And who's been your favorite Major League Baseball client to work with?
Great question. I've been very blessed. One of my best friends, he's become a great friend of mine just because I've been working with him since he was 18 years old back in '01. A Tucson guy, a high school kid named JJ Hardy. And it's been fun just because he was just a couple weeks removed from the senior prom, getting drafted, and being part of that, and being through some injuries and some All-Stars and some trades and some Gold Gloves, and now he's retired and being part of them. We even went beaver trapping up in Montana together one winter a few years ago because he's a big outdoorsman up in Montana, and it's kind of cool. He's come to my son's baseball games. He's even come out to help with some guest instruction. So just one of the great guys. We even had my son's 12 now. He's really into baseball. We even had Ian Kinsler come out before, and that was a lot of fun to see these guys interact with. They love it because that's reminds them of when it was just a game. It's not a business, and those are really guys. They're family guys, and that's important.
This pitch will get in there for a called strike. As a Nico Cavadas walk puts him on base. It'll be Pat Winkle digging in now. So you talked about it a little bit. You said this is the the last kind of innocent year before it turns into a raw business. And so what are some of the things that make baseball such a ruthless business even too at the major league level?
Well, they make you feel like, they value the player as a person, and to some extent they do, but really at the end of the day, the player is an asset. It's a product, and all they're trying to do is they have predetermined products that need to play at the big league level, and they need to surround these guys and develop them around other products that are organizational guys. And I wouldn't say they always are looking at the best interest of the player. It's really of the organization. So that's makes you feel a little bit like, okay, I gotta look out for myself a little bit, and then that's the unfortunate side of things.
All right, well, Kevin, thank you so much for joining the broadcast. We really
My pleasure.
appreciate having you on, and enjoy the rest of your time on the Cape.
Thanks, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
When we come back, Harwich will be back in the field. Cotuit coming up in the 5th. They lead at 1-0 here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to White House Field as the Cotuit Cavaliers coming up here in their half of the 5th inning, and leading things off will be Adam Oviedo, who calling back in the first inning, or I should say the second inning. He had a batter's interference call where he was put out. Coach was none too happy about it as Mike Roberts came out and had a lengthy discussion with the umpire, but at the end of the day, Oviedo was out, and there was nothing that was really done about that whole situation. It seemed like it kind of fizzled out.
And we did see the replay, and it seemed like it was the right call at the time. He did lean over the plate and obstructed the throw from Winkle. So it's going to be an 0-2 count to Adam Oviedo. As continues to be another pitcher's duel, something we've seen a lot of between Harwich Mariners and their opponent. As breaking ball missed low and outside to make it 1-2.
Yeah, can we just rename pitcher's duel to Harwich Mariners baseball game? Because again, it seems like every game has been, 4-2, 2-1, 2-3.
Menendez working from the windup, and the 1-2, swing and a miss, strike 3, and so for the first time since the third inning, Menendez able to record a strikeout, his third of the ball game, 1 down.
Yep, and he's always been more of a pitcher who's going to pitch to contact, but continues to work well here as a starter, and going into the 5th inning, he's getting used pretty deep into this one.
So we head to the third time through the Cotuit lineup, and Christian Robinson, the designated hitter, digs in a couple of ground outs to his name. Middle infielders respecting the power from Robinson, playing deep on the outfield grass. First pitch is on the outside corner for a strike. 1-0 Cotuit, the lone run coming on a Dante Williams solo shot back in the second. Other than that, Menendez has been pretty much in control as he comes over the top, and that pitch is fouled straight back into the netting. Actually hit one of the support beams. So Robinson falls behind 0-2. Robinson in yesterday's game went 2 for 4 with a double and 2 runs driven in. As pitch is fouled off, he stays alive.
Yeah, that one goes right back into the face mask of Pat Winkle again. Seems like he's been just taking a repeated beating, as have both of the Harwich catchers. So he's good to go, though. It doesn't appear to be too much worse for wear, and we'll face no 2 count here.
Another 0-2 and unable to get that one over the plate is Menendez. He seemed a little frustrated with himself. He was trying to go for that backdoor breaking ball, but couldn't quite bring it over the plate.
Seems like Menendez always tries to keep that strikeout pitch on the outer half. We haven't seen him kind of challenge anybody on the inside part yet.
1-2, that one's on the outside part of the plate again and sent down the left field line going, and it will find its way out of play. So lengthy at bat from Robinson, fouling off a couple of tough pitches.
Yep, we'll see what Menendez elects to go with. Again, he's got the slider. Haven't really seen him go over the top yet, use the curveball, but we'll see whether he decides to break that out.
Robinson out of Stanford. The Orlando, Florida native digs back in. And here is the 1-2 from Menendez, and that one is fouled straight back yet again.
Yep, so continuing to just stay tight here and foul things off until he gets the pitch that he wants is Christian Robinson, one of the dangerous hitters, trying to get things started with one away here in the fifth for Cotuit.
Another 1-2, and that one is just a bit outside as Mariners dugout none too pleased with that call as it looked really close, but instead the count will be even 2-2. Menendez will try once again. And from the windup, from the side, it's a ground ball up the middle. Hal Hughes, the long play in the hole to throw, and it's in time. What a play by Hal Hughes, showing off his range behind the second base bag, and he throws it all the way across the diamond for first in time for the second out.
Well, Hal Hughes is doing Hal Hughes things again, and again, he makes it look so easy. That's one of those plays that a lot of guys wouldn't even be able to get a glove on, much less make that awkward throw to first, but Hughes does both, and he's able to get that in there for the second out of the inning.
Christian Robinson's going to be having nightmares about Harwich middle infielders tonight. He's now 0 for 3 with 3 groundouts to either Fedco or Hal Hughes, as with 2 away, here's Aubrey Majors. First pitch is in there for a called strike. Major, 1 for 2 with a steal, and there's a hard hit ball through the left side in for a base hit. So Major came in hitting 400s, bound to raise that average as he's got a 2 for 3 game so far.
Yeah, I mean, sooner or later he was going to find a way to get his second hit of the day. Puts a runner on with 2 outs for Mason McWhorter.
Number 7.
McWhorter in his first appearance against Harwich this season. He was not playing against them earlier in the season. So for 1 with a walk. Major with a decent lead off of first. And a quick throw over to Cavadas, but Aubrey's back with a dive. McWhorter also had himself a day yesterday. 3 for 4 with a double and a run driven in. First pitch he sees is in for a called strike.
Yeah, been trying to focus up here and find a way to bring the runner around here with 2 outs.
Major the runner at first. And another throw over and skipped in, and good job by Cavadas using his body to keep it in front of it. It looked like it hit off the inside of his thigh. If it got by him, it would have gone all the way to the dugout. A lefty-heavy part of the lineup for Cotuit. Long look by Menendez, runner going. The 0-1 is swung on and hit in the air down the left field line. Gallen will give it a long run, and he's over to make a nice catch. So a couple of strong defensive plays by the Mariners, coupled with a strikeout, and the side is retired. We've played 4.5 from White House Field. It is Cotuit 1 and Harwich nothing. You're listening to the Mariners Radio Network. again at White House Field as the Mariners looking to cut into that 1-0 lead as lone run again coming from solo shot. And so far, the last couple of starts, the only 2 starts actually so far, Tyler, for Antonio Menendez, it's just been that one long ball that has affected him.
Yeah, I mean, he's given up the big play, but aside from that, he's done a pretty good job of just kind of keeping things on the outer half for hitters. He made one mistake pitch to Dante Williams, and right now that's the difference between these 2 teams. So Harwich will try to get a couple runs back here and support their guy. And the last time Menendez went out, he actually got a no decision after pitching a gem, and it was a 3-run home run given up by Nick Stewart, who then went on to get the victory. So for all he's done this year, he hasn't gotten a whole lot of credit for it.
So the first pitch from Reed Johnston is hit well down the right field line and deep, going over to the corner. A hustle play. Major lays out, and did he make the catch? No. It falls. It's going to be a foul ball. But what an effort by Aubrey Major, and even the Harwich fans are applauding him for his heroic dive.
And I think he had the speed to get there. I think he just misplayed that after the dive. But how about that from Aubrey Major? Not only to lay out for a ball that was clearly in foul territory, but I mean, giving everything, sacrificing his body there, and he'll make the slow walk back out to right field. As his pitcher, Reed Johnson, will give him some time to kind of shake that one off.
Now the 0-1 to Ludwig, it misses outside, and looking at where Major is standing now, if that's where he was on the last play, he had to cover a ton of ground to get into foul territory deep down the right field line. 1-1 is hit well in the air out towards left center. Stepping back is Shavers, and he's able to backpedal and make the catch. So Ludwig is retired to kick off the home half of the 5th.
I think he was actually closer to center field than he was when he was standing out there, which makes it more impressive as he had to range all the way over to make the catch, or to try to make the catch. But either way, it'll be one away here for Chris Galland, who's 0 for 1 today with a strikeout. Galland looking to continue improving upon his 2019 campaign, and did a good job of it yesterday, going 2 for 4.
First pitch to Galland misses low. Galland, actually, like Major, had to make a long run to make the play to end the 5th inning. Was able to get there, but didn't have to go nearly as far as Major. And Galland, it's a high pop-up, left side, carrying towards the out of play, and it does make it just past the fence by the bullpen. So it'll be a foul ball to even the count 1-1.
Pretty good snag by a fan out there, but he did have a glove on, so didn't squeeze it with 2 hands. Not the fundamental catch, but still a good snag, and it'll be a 1-1 count here to Chris Galland.
Looking out towards the bullpen, I believe it's Matthew Mervis warming up, who's been used as a position player against the Harwich Mariners this season. There's a chopper towards the right side, and it's an easy play for McWhorter. And he will walk on over and tap first. So it's 2 up, 2 down to begin the bottom of the 5th for Reed Johnston. So he continues to have a phenomenal performance, just 1 hit surrendered through 4 2/3. So Corey Acton, who is 0 for 1 with a ground out, look to add the first hit for the Harwich Mariners since the very first frame. He waves the first pitch, and it's in the dirt for strike 1.
This is a team in Cotuit that's been having a lot of fun recently, and part of that is because of Coach Mike Roberts, who's been, contrary to how he's been acting today, has been very, very relaxed, as this one will miss low and inside to even the count at 1-1. But he actually let Kyle Nicholas, one of the team's pitchers, get a little action in the field the other day and swing the bat, something that I haven't seen a whole lot of guys do this year for any of these Cape League teams. You get enough good hitting that even the pitchers who can come out and hit, you don't want them messing around with the bat too much. But an opportunity that he gave one of his guys, and it's really helped just kind of add to the way this team has been playing recently.
Roberts, of course, his son Brian, longtime Baltimore Orioles second baseman. 2-1 misses low. Led the American League in steals with 50 back in 2007. So definitely a long-time leadoff hitter who really terrorized the AL East on the base paths during his career. 3-1 to Corey Acton. Pitch from Johnston misses high for ball 4, so Corey Acton able to work a walk, and the Mariners have themselves 2-out base runner.
Yep, that's the second straight 2-out walk that's been surrendered by Reed Johnston as he walked Nico Cavadas with 2 away in the 4th inning, but he came back and got Pat Winkle to fly out. Now he'll look to get Hal Hughes out to end the inning.
Hughes, like Acton, grounded out to the second baseman, Loperfido. And his only at-bat as check on the runner, Acton.
Quick update around the league. The Brewster Whitecaps trail the YD Red Sox going into the 8th inning. That one is a 5-1 lead for the Red Sox of YD.
First pitch is sent out towards right field. A much easier play for Aubrey Major this time. Hardly has to move, and he makes the catch to end the inning. So that is 5 shutout innings from Reed Johnston to begin the game for Cotuit. They lead over Harwich 1-0. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
Off the top of the 6th for the Kettleers, the second baseman from Duke, number 18, Joey
Welcome back,
Loperfido.
folks. It is a 1-0 lead for the Cotuit Kettleers as they come to bat to begin the top of the 6th. And Antonio Menendez will head out for his 6th inning of work. Antonio went 6 innings in his last one, giving up just 1 run on a solo home run. So a lot of parallels as this ball is hit pretty well out towards left center field. Running over is Chris Galland, who stumbles a little bit but is able to haul it in for out number 1. At first, it looked like Dylan Noisy might have gotten there first, but Galland able to run it down, so it's
Number
a
20,
long out
left
number
fielder
1
from Coastal
to lead off the
Carolina,
inning. That will bring up Parker Shavers. Shavers 0 for 2. Flew out to center in the first and grounded out to first in the 4th. So the first pitch from Menendez is also swung on, and it's a 1-hopper to second, gloved by Fedko. So it's 2 pitches and 2 outs so far to begin the 6th. So now all of a sudden, the Mariners are looking to maybe record a 3-pitch inning, but I would be stunned if Dante Williams doesn't
Number
have the
3,
take sign
center
here.
fielder from the University of Arizona, Dante Williams.
So in steps Williams.
Yeah, I mean, you get the feeling they're probably going to throw the take sign on just to let him see a pitch. Sometimes when a pitcher gets off to a hot start the way that Menendez has done, you want to just try to slow the pace on him a little bit.
And the first pitch from Menendez is in there for a strike as Williams homered in the second. The only run of the game so far. He also grounded out to grounded out to first. Ended up being a 3-1-3 play, something you don't see too often as the ball hit off Nico Cavadas, but Menendez covering flipped it back to him for the out. And ahead in the count now 0-2 is Menendez, so 4 pitches, 4 strikes to begin the 6th for Antonio. Cam Bauman warming in the pen for the Mariners as that pitch misses upstairs. If Menendez is able to get out of this inning facing just 3 batters, we'll see if he's given the 7th. Be interesting to see what Coach Engler does. There's a hard chopper to third. It's a fair ball. Nice backhanded play by Acton. Long throw, he got him. As the sparkling defense in this game continues from both sides, we are through 5.5 innings. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Antonio Menendez. Cotuit still leads 1-0. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners Radio Network. once again to White House Field as the Harwich Mariners looking for their first run of the ball game. And they have been going up against a very tough pitcher in Reed Johnson tonight, Tyler.
Yeah, Johnson's been absolutely cooking all day long. And, you know, really they've been unable to hit him since Daniel Cabrera had a knock back in the first inning. But even on that play, Colin, he was thrown out trying to swipe second. So technically the Mariners haven't had a single base runner on that has reached via a legitimate hit. Although Christian Fedko, via error ruling, came awfully close to being ruled a hit as he was charging down the line. But ultimately it was ruled as an error. And Harwich will be looking for their first hit since the first inning. It'll be the top of the order trying to do it. Dylan Noisy, Daniel Cabrera, and Christian Fedko due up here for the Mariners.
So Noisy steps in. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout, looking at a ground out to short. First pitch is hit on the ground to the right side. It's off the glove of the diving McWhorter, and Dylan Noisy's going to go for second. In comes the throw from Major, a slide, and he is safe. It's a hustle double for Dylan Noisy, and the Mariners have the leadoff man in scoring position to begin the home half of the sixth.
I mean, was there ever any doubt that Dylan Noisy was going to go take second? I don't think there was for any of us, as he just took a wide turn at first. He was very aggressively charging in, and I mean, you can kind of see Aubrey Major. I don't think he expected him to go either, as he was jogging in from right field to collect that ball. It didn't get too far into right, and just like that, the Mariners find their first hit, and trying to drive him in and tie this one up will be Daniel Cabrera, who had the first hit, that coming back in the first inning.
So just the 2 hits so far for the Mariners in this one, but they have arguably, actually easily, their best scoring chance of the game right now. This is the first time they've had a man on second the entire contest, as a spin move and a throw over by Johnston, and back in time is the runner Noisy. Mervis continues to warm in the Cotuit bullpen. We'll see how quickly Coach Roberts goes to him. First pitch in a off-speed pitch has Cabrera way out in front. He falls behind 0-1. Cabrera, after the single, he also flew out to begin the home half of the 4th inning. 0-1 from Johnston, and that one's chopped foul.
Looking across the Cape League, every single team except for one has reached 20 points with a Bourne victory yesterday. The only team that has not reached 20 is Hyannis, who is sitting at 11, and you mentioned it, 5-19-1. They just refuse to win baseball games.
And they're 4.5 back of that final playoff spot and 9 back of the lead in the division. So not the season the Harbor Hawks were hoping for. The 0-2. It's a high fly ball, shallow left. Coming in to make the catch is Shavers, and no tag from the runner Noisy. So Cabrera unable to help the cause and still be a runner on second now with 1 away.
Yep, and that'll bring up Christian Fedko, who is 0 for today, but has reached base once. He got a pretty good error, or reached on an error back in the first inning. Other than that, he has a ground out to third base, so he will try to start things off and see whether or not he can put a charge into one here and bring the first run across for the Mariners today.
Fedko's had a ton of key RBIs this season for the Mariners, especially at White House Field. It's going to be a righty against righty, and look back to that game on the 4th of July. Fedko had that 2-run single in the 7th that put the Mariners ahead for good in a 6-1 victory. There's a hard ground ball to third. Schmidt will look the runner back and fire on to first for the out. A good play over at the hot corner, and Fedko is retired for out number 2.
So that'll bring up Nico Cavadas, who reached on a walk with 2 outs back in the 4th inning, just the second walk of the last 10 days for him. But they'll look for a big bounce back AB here and try to maybe drive a run in. Harwich could really use his hitting ability with a runner in scoring position. You'd think after getting Dylan Noisy up to second to start the inning, Harwich maybe had a chance to tie it up, but now they're just 1 out away from exiting the inning without a single run.
First pitch to Cavadas is hit well down the right field line, hooking, and it is a foul ball. As surprisingly, Major playing pretty far off the line, given the pulling nature of Nico Cavadas. It's a lot of balls out towards right field, but Nico a bit out in front of that one, so he'll try to straighten it out with an 0-1 count.
Yep, including a monster 2-run shot that came against the Chatham A's just a few days ago here at White House Field. So plenty of room out there in right center field as Major tightens up closer to the line.
0-1 is hit high in the air, but playable out in right center field. And Williams will make his way over and make the catch for the third out. So the Mariners, despite the leadoff double from Dylan Noisy, unable to bring him home. We're through 6 from White House Field. Cotuit leads over Harwich 1-0. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Mariners YouTube network.
Welcome back here to White House Field. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey as we head on to the 7th inning of play. It'll be the Cotuit Kettleers coming up here for their at-bats, looking to maybe pad on to a 1-run lead as they've only had the solo shot and a final score to pass along to you. The Whitey Red Sox get a 5-1 victory over the Brewster Whitecaps. That game is called due to darkness in 8 innings for I believe, the only game that Whitey hasn't had due to darkness at their place or on the road in the last 6 days has been the game they played against the Harwich Mariners.
It's got to be frustrating for some of those players not being able to complete a full game.
The 0-1 will miss high and away, and yeah, for as professional as everything is in the Cape League, and I understand. I mean, at YD, you have the house out there. Brewster's got a neighborhood nearby as well, but just start the games 30 minutes earlier, or maybe an hour earlier. It's not that big of a deal. This one misses. Actually, they're going to say it's going to catch the zone high, so it's a 1-2 count. But yeah, it's very frustrating when you come in as a player to this league and you're trying to play at the top of your game, and you don't even get an opportunity to play the last half inning, sometimes, or the last full inning of a game. It just kind of takes something away from it, as this pitch will miss to even the count at 2-2.
Come on, Tyler, you're making way too much sense here.
Right. So it's Antonio Menendez back out here to pitch the 7th. I believe this is the deepest he's gone into a game at any point this year, and the 2-2 pitch will miss just off the plate, so he's kind of developing into maybe a starter here for the Harwich Mariners. And like I said, he can kind of plug the hole that they need in that Monday starter role. So Menendez working out of the windup here, the side-arming right-hander, the payoff pitch, and that one's going to miss off the plate just narrowly. Not 100% sure about that one, but it's going to put Cody Pasek on base here to lead off the 7th.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where that ball missed, but it seems like that call at least has been consistent at the very least, and we're going to get a we're going to get a pinch runner here actually over at first, so Pasek will come out, and the new runner for the Cotuit Kettleers is going to be
Cameron Hill.
Yep, we've seen Hill a couple of times, I think, this year against the Mariners,
Please,
mostly as a starter, but we know the speed that he's got, and it's an interesting move here in the 7th inning. I'm sure Coach Roberts knows that runs are coming at a premium, and he'd love to have as much speed over at first to lead off the inning.
Yep, the hitter will stay the same. It'll be Casey Schmidt digging in here as Coach Englert's going to come out and have a word with his starter, and this could very well be the end of Menendez's outing, as here in the 7th inning you get the feeling he was on a very short leash. There is action up in the Harwich bullpen. We'll see whether or not that means a pitching change or whether Coach E is going to leave his guy in there to work through this. And really quickly, an update on who is warming up out there in the pen for the Harwich Mariners. In case you were wondering, it's Cam Bauman out of the University of Iowa. It's been a while since he's come into a game, so seems for the time being like this may just be a stalling tactic as Coach E is out there talking to his guy, and here comes home plate umpire Doug Ishand to break things up.
Oh, and I think Coach Engler might be having a couple words with the umpire about that last call.
He's like, hey, while you're here, let me ask you about that pitch. So, no pitching change. Coach E will keep the ball in the hands of Antonio Menendez, and he'll head back to the dugout. So Menendez will face off here against Casey Schmidt. This is the this is the part of the order that you really want to retire, is it's 7, 8, 9. The 7-hole hitter found his way on, and now it'll be the 8-hole hitter, number 8, Casey Schmidt, here in the 7th inning of play. So digging in from the left side is Casey Schmidt, runner on first here, 1-0 lead for his Cotuit Kettleers. He squares to bunt, pulls it back, and well, there it is, Colin. If you wondered whether or not some small ball was going to be played after putting the pinch runner on in Cameron Hill, looks like that's the way that Cotuit wants to manufacture another run.
And not the worst idea with your 8 hitter at the plate. Maybe you can get a guy over in scoring position with less than 2 outs and give some other guys an opportunity to bring them home.
Here comes the 1-0 pitch, squaring to bunt and pulling it back again. Taking ball 2 is Casey Schmidt. And again, the corners charging in there as Nico Cavadas is playing up on the grass, as is Corey Acton over there at third.
Wouldn't surprise me if we saw Raj Anu get an opportunity as a pinch hitter at some point in this game, especially if it's a crucial at-bat.
Certainly might as well, but for the time being, the infielders, corners in, double play depth for the middle infielders, squaring to bunt once again, and once again pulling it back to take a called ball is Casey Schmidt. So it's 3-0 the count here from Antonio Menendez.
And actually, if they're looking for just kind of a base hit, I think the move might be Nick Gonzalez hitting 326 on the season, arguably the most consistent hitter for that Kettleers lineup.
Although the way Harwich is pitched, a hit may not give him a whole lot of help, as the only way they've been able to manufacture a run was by taking one over the fence, and it's going to be a 4-pitch walk here from Antonio Menendez. Runners at first and second for Adam Oviedo.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe fatigue being a big factor with Menendez, considering this is the farthest he's gone throughout this Cape League season, and probably taking a lot out of him here, but can't be putting base runners on at the bottom of the lineup, because then it just makes your job so much harder when that lineup card flips over.
Christian Robinson, Aubrey Major, and Mason McWhorter, the top 3 guys in the lineup, are looming on deck here for the Cotuit Kettleers, and here it'll be Adam Oviedo trying to get something started and maybe pat a few more insurance runs onto the 1-run lead for Cotuit. He'll square to bunt and lay the first one down, but foul, and small ball continues to be the way that they want to play here with nobody out. And you get the feeling a sacrifice bunt, Colin. At 1 away, you got 2 guys in scoring position. It's the ideal scenario for the Cotuit Kettleers.
Yeah, and it makes even more sense now that the 9 hitters play, because then you go to the top of the order and you got a guy like Robinson who knows how to put the ball in play, and that could be a situation with 2 runners in scoring position, 1 away. All they might need is just a sac fly to bring home a huge insurance run.
So Oviedo digs in. Here comes the 0-1. He will square to bunt once again. This one's going to be in 4 called strikes, so the opposite of what we saw in the first at bat. It turned into a 4-pitch walk here. Oviedo pulls the bat back twice, and it's going to be an 0-2 count.
I guess that might have been a called strike, but that looked kind of outside as that bunt was pulled back. So I was a little surprised as to if that was a called strike. Maybe it was on the bunt, but it looked like he got the bat back in time. But regardless, it's no 2 count.
Could have been a makeup call from earlier. As squaring to bunt once again is Oviedo. Cavadas is going to come all the way in, and boy, Nico Cavadas was jogging in. He was already halfway to Oviedo before he even would have received the pitch. So Cavadas playing awfully deep, or awfully shallow, up on the infield grass. And squaring to bunt again, here is Oviedo. A 0-2 count. You get the feeling he's not actually going to bunt, and he won't. He pulls it back and tries to quick swing. He'll swing through it for strike 3, and it's going to be a strikeout here for Antonio Menendez.
Yeah, you know, I think Oviedo might have been better off just trying to drop that bunt down, because it is so hard to show bunt and then at the last second pull back and rip a swing. So I don't know, just not a very productive at bat at all. And now Robinson, he's able to hit a ground ball that would end the inning, but not surprisingly, with the lefty coming to the plate, Coach English is going to make a move to the bullpen.
So we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have an update on the new pitcher into the game for the Mariners. All that and more right around the corner here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
back once again to White House Field. And quick reminder, this broadcast of Harwich Mariners baseball is brought to you by Curry College. Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Cardinals and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
So here comes Cam Bauman for the Harwich Mariners, and he's had a pretty impressive 2019 campaign himself. The Saturday starter out of the University of Iowa, who has been converted to a reliever, and it seems to have worked for him, as this year he has pitched in 3 games. He has thrown 4 innings in those games, a 6.75 ERA, and 5 strikeouts to only 1 walk. He's given up 5 hits and 3 runs, all of them earned. So Bauman looking to, really bounce back. It seemed like the last time he went out, it was the only time that he got hit really well. Aside from that, he has been pretty solid all season long. And he actually came in at 4 games. That stat is out of date. He has a 3.38 ERA, and in that last outing, he really ramped things up, tallying 9 strikeouts to his total on the year to only 1 walk.
Yeah, he had that 4 innings pitched in a loss against Bourne out of the pen. No runs given up and just 3 hits to go along with 4 strikeouts. So he looked really good in that last outing. The outing before that, though, he did struggle against Orleans. But other than that, he's been just phenomenal out of the pen for the Mariners. So
it's a pretty typical setup here for Cam Bauman. Fastball, curveball, and the first pitch he delivers is going to be taken hard down the right side, but it hit awkwardly off the bat. Runner tags, and he will hold up as delivering a strike, and getting him at second is Daniel Cabrera in right. How about that? So Daniel Cabrera slides over. Actually, it's Mike Ludwig out in right field. He makes the catch and then guns it in and gets the throw at second. Is faking tagging up was Cameron Hill. That'll be the end of the inning. Cam Bauman gets out of it for the Mariners, and when we come back after the 7th inning stretch, it'll be Harwich looking to pad some runs on here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to White House Field. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey, new pitcher coming into the game here for the Cotuit Kettleers. It'll be Matthew Mervis, the 6'4", 225 pitcher out of Potomac, Maryland, who played for the University of Duke last year. Let's take a look at what he's done this year. 3.0 ERA through 4 games. He's pitched 9 innings, has given up 12 hits and 3 runs, all of them earned, and he's had 3 strikeouts to just 1 walk. So, Colin, a guy that I believe we saw once earlier this year, actually maybe twice.
No, you know where we saw him actually was in the starting lineup as a cleanup hitter.
That's right.
Playing over at third base. He reached base a couple of times, even walked in a run in that 2-1 loss for Cotuit. So he had the only RBI in that last game here at White House Field between these 2 teams. But now Mervis, as you mentioned by his stat line, he's had a pretty successful season on the mound as well. And he will be tasked to keep the lead right now at 1 against the 5, 6, and 7 hitters.
So it will be the 5, 6, and 7 hitters coming up. It'll be Pat Winkle, Mike Ludwig, and Chris Gallant. So Daniel Cabrera, the DH today. Ludwig out there in right. And Pat Winkle standing in here for a 3rd time today. He's 0 for 2, a ground out and a fly out, as this first pitch will miss high and away. So Mervis starting him off with an off-speed pitch, and we'll see whether Harwich can capitalize here with Reed Johnston out of the game. Sooner or later he had to leave, and finally Harwich has an opportunity to maybe bring a few runs across, as this is fouled away.
Yeah, Johnston goes 6 innings, giving up just 2 hits. He had 4 strikeouts, but all 4 of them came in the first 2 innings, so that strikeout pitch kind of dissipated as his start went on.
Here comes the 1-1. That one will be fouled back to us here. It'll be a 1-2 count on Pat Winkle for the Harwich Mariners today. I mean, they've had the one hit, or the two hits, I should say. The one for Daniel Cabrera in the first inning, and then the one for Dylan Noisy in the sixth. So that was all they were able to accomplish off of Reed Johnston, but now an opportunity with a new pitcher. The 1-2 pitch, that one will miss outside. No, they're going to ring up Pat Winkle on a pitch that looked about 2 inches off the plate, and that's going to be the first out of the day here for Matt Mervis.
Number 13, the right fielder
Mervis,
from Wake
like
Forest,
a lot of guys,
Michael
or like both starting
Ludwig.
pitchers, I should say so far, going right to that outside corner, and it's been kind of the spot where pitchers haven't been able to really, or hitters haven't really been able to pick it up all that well. So Mervis looking to kind of continue what Reed Johnson did through 6 innings.
4 strikeouts on the day as for Reed Johnson. As swinging through that pitch is Mike Ludwig. So Ludwig standing in for a third time today. He's 0 for 2, a strikeout and a flyout. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and that will miss low and inside. And Colin, once again, a bit of a pitcher's duel here, although Cotuit has had plenty of guys on base today. It's made for another quick ball game.
Yeah, and you know, despite there not being a lot of offense, if there's something about pitchers' duels that are just kind of exceptionally fun to watch.
1-1's going to be ripped, but right at the first baseman, who will glove it as McWhorter steps on first for the second out of the inning.
We've kind of been able to watch a lot of those, especially over the last couple of days. You know, we saw the one back here at White House Field just 2 days ago with Connor McCullough going 8 innings and striking out 10, despite having a pretty solid start from the opposing pitcher in Zarian Sharp. So it seems like every time, we've kind of mentioned earlier in the broadcast, every time the Mariners play, they have some sort of pitcher's duel one way or the other.
This will bring Chris Galland up to the plate, and he will watch the first pitch low and inside. Colin, I think I can solve Whitey's problem with the lights. If their pitching would just give up fewer hits, the games would go by quicker, and they wouldn't have to have all these delays. There's a broken bat, look out. That one's going to short. Throw to first is going to chase him off the bag. That's going to allow, no it won't. Runner stays where he's at. A throw is not going to be in time. How about the hustle there for Cody Pasek getting down the line and backing up the play? That does not allow Chris Galland to move up to second, but with 2 away, the Mariners have a runner on base.
And the whole reason why Galland actually wasn't able to move up to second, he never touched first base originally as he was going around, so he tried to avoid kind of the throw coming in, but he wasn't able to drag that left foot across the bag, so he had no choice but to retreat to first. And he actually almost got thrown out on the return throw by, as you mentioned, Kessler, who did a phenomenal job of backing up that wild throw from the shortstop Oviedo.
So I believe they're going to rule that an error, and Chris Galland will reach base here. The second error of the day on the Cotuit Kettleers. A lot of speed on first. Throw over is going to be not in time as Galland dives back in safely. So it's going to be an E6 in the scorebook. Corey Acton standing in now. The other, or a guy who reached on a 2-out walk. And here he almost gets nailed in the leg by a fastball. That'll be missing inside for ball 1.
And if, of course, the Kettleers can take care of business here in Harwich and get some help from the Bourne Braves, they could find themselves at the top of the Western Division after tonight.
They certainly could, as a throwover's not in time. Currently, the Bourne Braves are tied up with the Wareham Gatemen 2-2. Other scores going on around the league right now. Last check, Falmouth was up on Chatham 5-2. YD beats Brewster 5-1, and Hyannis New Orleans still scoreless at 0-0 in the third. Runner takes off. This is going to be hit, and it might have a chance to get through. No, it won't. Second baseman comes on, flips to first in time for the third out of the inning. So once again, the Mariners go quietly. We go to the 8th. Still a 1-0 lead here for Cotuit on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Fans, it's time to take out. 946.
Welcome back once again to White House Field, and
2 tickets on a
quick reminder that this game is brought to you in part by Cape Cod Healthcare. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod Healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and right here in Harwich. Open after hours and weekends, staffed by ER physicians, expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgent-care.
So we go to the 8th inning here. Harwich still looking for answers as they trail at 1-0. And Cotuit has gotten 5 hits in this game. They've also been the beneficiary of a couple of walks between Antonio Menendez and Cam Bauman, who's back out there to pitch another inning. But, I mean, aside from that, Harwich has done a good job keeping him off the scoreboard, as the only hit that they really gave up that mattered was the Donto Williams solo shot.
Yep, just all it took was one missed location from Antonio Menendez, and that's just been the difference. Not to say that Menendez hasn't had quite a start himself, going 6 1/3, just giving up the 1 run on 5 hits.
So here comes Aubrey Major for a fourth time today. His first pitch is going to miss down in the dirt. Major is 2 for 3 today, a couple of base hits and a stolen base for him as the 1-0 delivery from Bauman comes in. That's going to be a fastball that will also miss low, so it starts him off here 2-0.
Major batting from the right side this time with the lefty in the game after 3 plate appearances from the left.
Here comes the 2-0 delivery. That one's going to be fouled away, so it'll be 2-1 here on for Cam Bauman on Aubrey Major. So far, the two teams in this one have stranded the same number of base runners, as each one has left 7 on base. The 2-1 pitch from Bauman, and that's also going to miss low and inside. So he's fallen behind Aubrey Major here, 3-1.
And not the best guy to put on base either. We saw how aggressive Major was first time he reached base back in the first. Was able to swipe second.
This one will miss outside, and it's going to be a 5-pitch walk here to Aubrey Major for the second time today, and the third time today that Major has reached base. So the leadoff man is aboard here as Mason McWhorter will come to the plate.
Mason McWhorter.
McWhorter so far today is 0 for 2. He reached on a walk back in the first inning and then struck out in the third and flew out in the fifth. And he will square around and show bunt here, so the corners are going to come in. And he will try to lay that one down, but it's going to be popped foul for strike 1.
Hasn't been an easy time today for the Kettleers trying to play small ball. It seems like every bunt just haven't quite been able to get down. That one popped up, and the hitter McWhorter is pretty lucky that Nico Cavadas wasn't able to come over and make that catch. Would have been a wasted out.
So with an 0-1 count, Bauman will be working out of the stretch here. Checks Major back to first base and delivers the 0-1. Once again squaring to bunt and pulling it back is Mason McWhorter, and the count is even here at 1-1.
Continue to have a nice stretch of weather here on the Cape after what was such a tough start weather-wise. First couple of weeks, just rainouts left and right.
So, just holding out the hands for time and stepping back out of the box is Mason McWhorter. And he will actually jog down, and wanting to have a discussion with him once again here is Mike Roberts. This is really the only coach in the league that we've seen do this all year. He did it in both of the previous games against Harwich. Get the feeling he's been doing it all year long. The only guy who will actually call his hitter over and talk to him mid-at-bat.
Yeah, and I don't really blame him at this juncture in the game, a 1-0 game. He wants to make sure that he and his batter are on the same page and are able to do what his job is, and that right now is to get that runner in Major in scoring position.
So with a 1-1 count, Mason McWhorter will look to do just that with nobody out and see what the options are here. He will square to bunt, and he lays that one down. It's executed perfectly. Menendez picks it up, throws to first. Actually, that's Bauman, and it's going to be in time for the first out of the inning. But it will move Aubrey Major up 90 feet, and now an insurance run is standing in scoring position.
Yep, absolutely perfect execution there by McWhorter after kind of struggling at first. He had a discussion with Roberts, comes down, lays down a beautiful bunt just to the right of the pitcher's mound. Bauman, the lefty, had no choice but to make the play over at first, and now all of a sudden it's the cleanup man, Joey Lorpofito, who's got a chance to add to this Cotuit lead.
He's been 0 for so far, but here he'll get an opportunity to maybe bring another run across. Here comes the first pitch. It's going to be something very off speed. Looked like a change up there from Cam Bauman, and Loperfido has fallen behind here 0-1.
Another righty throwing in the pen for Cotuit, so we'll see if Coach Roberts wants to go to the pen once again and kind of go inning by inning.
This one's going to be fouled away back to the screen, and so falling behind 0-2 here is Joey Loperfido, who's already struck out once today, and then he flew out twice to left field, once in the 3rd inning and once in the 6th inning.
It hasn't been a great game for the middle, or for the heart of the lineup, I should say, with McWhorter the only guy to reach base via a walk back in the 1st.
Major taking a pretty good lead at second. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3, and Cam Bauman fans Joey Loperfido for the second out of the inning, and now Harwich has a chance to maybe get out of this. They'll have to do it against Parker Chavers, another dangerous hitter, but a guy who comes in today, and here he's 0 for 3, so a good chance to maybe end this inning and escape unscathed here for Cam Bauman. Bauman working out of the stretch. Shaver stands in from the right side. First pitch that he sees is going to be off speed, and that one gets into the zone for strike 1.
And obviously a big reason that we've seen Bauman in this game is just the absurd amount of lefties up and down this lineup. Just a switch hitter through the first 6 hitters in the Cotuit lineup, and that's major. Everyone else just a natural left-handed bat.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one's going to be raked foul down the first base line, and falling behind here 0-1 is the hitter Parker Chavers. So an 0-2 count here. Pretty big pitch coming up for Cam Bauman. Maybe looking to get this inning over with one more pitch. He sets, kicks, and fires. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Parker Chavers down on strikes, and the inning is over. So it'll be Harwich coming up in their half of the 8th, down to their final 6 outs and trailing by a run here to Cotuit when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Back, we head to the home half of the 8th from White House Field, and again, this edition of Harwich Mariners Baseball is brought to you in part by Milton Cat. Milton Cat, Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealers, proud to be a sponsor of today's ball game.
So as we go here to the bottom half of the 8th inning, Harwich is still looking for answers, and a pinch hitter coming up here is it'll be Joey Weimer, a welcome sight for Harwich, hitting in place of Hal Hughes down in the 9th hole. And why not? This seems to be the place where he hits the best, so Weimer will stand in and try to start things off for Harwich to lead off the 8th.
Hughes to this point was 0 for 2. Hughes actually has been really picking it up at the plate, but I'm not surprised to see Weimer get an opportunity with his team looking for some run support.
Joey Weimer has been brought in as a pinch hitter, I believe, twice this year, and he's reached on one of those 2 at-bats. So the first pitch he sees from Matt Mervis is going to be in there for a called strike, and he'll fall behind here 0-1. First debut of the day for Joey Weimer. Here comes the 0-1 pitch, and that one's going to be skipped in the dirt and off the glove of Cody Pasek behind home plate to even the count at 1-1 here.
The great thing is if Weimer's able to reach base, you don't really have to worry about a pinch runner. He's got the wheels to take a couple of bags himself.
Weimer will call time and take a minute to think things over here. Quick update from Chatham as the Anglers trail the Falmouth Commodores 6-2. And how about this? The Commodores, they have 6 runs, but they also have 12 hits through just 4 innings. So they're off to a hot start, looking to expand on a pretty good streak for their team.
Falmouth finds themselves solidly in the middle in that Western Division. But again, only 2 games back of Wareham for that top spot.
And technically Falmouth, I mean, right now they do only have 25 points. They've also played in fewer games than both Wareham and Cotuit. You know, they've only lost the 10 this season, so looking to improve on that. And by the time all is said and done at the end of the year, they could be in a position where they find themselves ahead. Same situation the Brewster's in right now. As yesterday, despite trailing Harwich in points, they had played fewer games, so listed in the standings at being in 4th place. The Harwich Mariners coming into this game have played 2 more games than the Brewster Whitecaps, as Weimer will foul this one away.
We know Bourne, out of all teams, really start trying to play catch up on that schedule. Currently, I think 3 games off the pace, but you know, some of these off days that they've had to play on are really helping that cause in terms of getting back at the same level of games played as the rest of the teams in the league.
And somehow Falmouth has played in 1 fewer game even than Bourne, so they're in last place in the league in games played as Weimer swings through that one and misses for strike 3, and that will be the first out of the inning.
Yeah, there's a big out to get if you're Matt Mervis. You know, Weimer's a guy who can jump the yard. He's done it once this season, but good off-speed pitch catches him way out in front, so let's see if Mervis can continue that success that he had in the first inning, or in his first inning of work, last inning in the 7th.
So it'll be Dylan Noisy, as you mentioned, looking to continue what's been a pretty good streak for him as of late. He's already got a double today on a hustle play, and he will watch the first pitch in there for strike 1. Good breeze here at White House Field as darkness begins to set in. The 0-1 pitch to Noisy is going to be called a strike 2. That looked awfully low and inside, but Noisy kind of shakes his head as well, and it'll be a 0-2 count here on the Harwich leadoff hitter.
I think my golf bag's in the back of my car. Maybe he wants to borrow my 9-iron to hit that ball.
May very well need to. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. That one's going to miss high and away. Setting up there was the catcher Cody Pasick, and Noisy will try to fight his way back in here in the at-bat to a very good Matt Mervis, who so far has continued right where Reed Johnston left off, as the Harwich Mariners still have not had more than 2 hits in this entire game. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Fastball swing and a miss. Dylan Noisy is going to be down on strikes for a second time today, and it's back-to-back strikeouts here for Matt Mervis to lead off the 8th.
And Mervis only had 3 strikeouts so far this season in 9 innings pitched. He's already been able to double that in just an inning and 2/3, so starting to figure out how to get these bats to miss, and sometimes that's all it takes is a few innings under your belt to find out how to attack hitters in this Cape Cod Baseball League.
So here comes Daniel Cabrera for a 4th time today. He reached on a single, or had a single in the first inning. He didn't reach on it as he was thrown out at second, and this one's going to be a called strike to lead off the at-bat here by Matt Mervis. So with an 0-1 count, Cabrera will stand in from the right side. Here comes the pitch, and that one's going to be in there for a called fastball. Cabrera can't believe it. Is again a low pitch, and this seems to be a more recent development by home plate umpire Doug Isham, who seems like he's been calling the strike zone the same all game up until this inning, but a couple of really low pitches down below the knees of Dylan Noisy and now Daniel Cabrera have been called strikes, and Cabrera's got to be careful with an 0-2 count. This one's going to miss just off the plate. The count here is 1-2. So the 1-2 count. Daniel Cabrera steps in, and time will be called here.
You know, Cabrera's capable of hitting home runs. Again, at this point in the season, though, Nico Cavadas the only guy with multiple home runs on the roster.
The 1-2 pitch swung on and missed. It's going to be back-to-back-to-back strikeouts here in the inning for Matt Mervis, and that will do it for the 8th. We go to the 9th. Harwich still trailing Cotuit 1-0 when we come back here on the Mariners YouTube Network. back to White House Field. Tyler Henry, Colin Casey as we go to the ninth. A couple of defensive adjustments to update you too. Joey Weimer, who came in as a pinch hitter, will be out in center field. Dylan Noisy will come in from center, and he will replace Hal Hughes at short, who comes off of the field. So it'll be 6, 7, 8 coming up here for the Cotuit Cavaliers. It'll be Dante Williams, Cameron Hill, and Casey Schmidt, assuming we don't have a pinch hitter. For pinch runner Cameron Hill, and squaring to bunt here on the first pitch, but pulling it back is Dante Williams.
Of course, the one big swing in this one, driving a ball over the right field fence off Antonio Menendez, and be the big reason why the Cavaliers are able to walk out of here with a victory.
The 1-0 pitch is going to be in there for called strike one, and pretty good start here by Cam Bauman, who continues to work for another inning. As he did lead off with a walk to Aubrey Major, but was able to get 3 straight outs, including 2 strikeouts, one to Joey Loperfido and one to Parker Chavers. Shut that down. So here comes the 1-0 pitch. That one's going to miss down in the dirt, and it'll be a 2-0 count here to Dante Williams, who today is 1 for 3, but the one hit he had was the one that made all the difference. It was a solo home run out to right field, and that got things off to a big-time start here for the Cotuit Cavaliers. They still hold a 1-0 lead over Harwich, and this is going to be ripped off the head area of the pitcher and roll into left field, and boy, the trainers and everyone else coming out to take a look at Cam Bauman. That's scary.
And he's quickly going to make his way towards the dugout, but it's great to at least see him walking towards the dugout. My goodness, that ball jumped off the bat and caught him up high, but thankfully he is off walking the mound. You can even see that Williams over at first is shaken up on that.
Yeah, he's crouched down by first, and so Harwich is going to have to find a new pitcher for the time being as everything stirs up there. We will take a break, and when we come back, we'll have an update on who that is for the Mariners. And hopefully, obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to Cam Bauman and his family, and everything hopefully should be okay. Again, we don't speculate on injuries, but taking a pretty tough shot off the bat. So we'll be back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. back here to White House Field. Tyler Henry alongside Colin Casey as we work our way here through the top of the ninth here. Cotuit up on their side of the bat. It'll be Dante Williams standing on first base. The new pitcher coming into the game here to replace Blake Espinal, or Cam Bauman will be Blake Espinal. And Colin, a scary sight, not trying to go back to it for too long, but a tough ball that was taken off of the upper region of Cam Bauman and a laser hit right back off to him. And that thing bounced all the way out into left field. So it's going to be rolled a hit here for Dante Williams, who stands on first base. He still looks a little bit shaken up over there, and Espinal comes in to relieve him.
Yeah, you always hate to see stuff like that take place, but I guess one of the positives we can take out of this is, thank goodness they're using wooden bats there, because the exit velocity, I'm sure, would have been a lot higher if that was coming off the metal bat. But once again, Cam Bauman, who was looking really good before that line drive that caught him up high, we certainly hope he's okay. But back looking at the game now, Mariners will just hope to try to get out of this inning. And what a huge spot this is for Blake Espinal, who's had a little bit of trouble over the last couple outings that he's had. And he's got a golden opportunity to maybe gain some more confidence from that Mariners dugout.
So the left-handed pitcher out of the Bronx will come in now, and we'll see who the first guy he's going to face off against will be. It's due up to be Cameron Hill, who came in as a pinch runner. We'll see whether or not they keep him where he is, but they may opt for a different hitter, although, well, yeah, and it looks like they will. It's going to be, I believe that's 25 coming up to the plate.
Colton Kessler, yeah,
Yep.
so he ended up being a defensive replacement after Hill pinch hit for Cody Pasek, so they're going to just let him go ahead and bat with a runner on first and no one out.
So Colton Kessler will dig in here for a first time today. Cameron Hill comes out. We'll see what that affects on the defensive side, on the other side of the break. But for the time being, here comes Blake Espinal with a runner on first and nobody out. The first pitch he delivers is going to miss inside for ball 1-2. Colton Kessler. So Falmouth is currently leading Chatham 11-2. They just refuse to let up on the Anglers. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Runner takes off, and unable to get that out of the glove was Pat Winkle. So it'll be a 2-0 count here as Espinal's fallen behind. The lefty, who more or less only throws fastballs, got pretty good velocity on it at 95.
And just the second steal by Williams this season, but he got such a huge jump. Espinal kind of, it's possibly been forgotten that he was over there. He didn't even kind of look his way, and it was just a huge jump, and now runner in scoring position, nobody out.
Of course, the entire Harwich roster probably thinking not completely clearly after the event that just transpired, but everybody's trying to focus up here and find a way to get out of this inning. With a 2-0 count, Espinal will come set. He'll check the runner back to second, kick and deliver. Runner squaring around the bunt. He's going to get it down, and unable to pick it up on the right side of the line there is Pat Winkle, so it's going to be a foul ball. It'll be a 2-1 count here on Colton Kessler.
And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world that Winkle was able to make contact with that ball, because that would have been such a tough play to pick that up with the glove and make a strong, perfect throw to first to get Kessler with the runner going to third. So I don't think it's the worst case scenario. I'm sure Kessler might try to lay one down once again, but maybe a little bit of an easier play for the Mariners defense to make.
So here comes Colton Kessler. It's still a 2-1 count on him. Espinal working out of the stretch here with a runner on second. Here in the top of the ninth, the 1-0 lead. He's going to have a chance, but won't throw back to second, as catching Dante Williams way off the bag was Blake Espinal. So that'll be a 2-1 count still here on Colton Kessler. Espinal kicks and fires, squaring to bunt and popping this one a mile high back behind the backstop is Kessler. It'll be a 2-2 count.
And looking across the league, Falmouth with a huge 6-run fourth inning, and they now have a commanding lead over the Chatham A's by a score of 11-2.
So it will be a 2-2 count. Colton Kessler taking the 6th pitch of his at-bat. Here comes, well, actually Espinal will step off and check the runner back to second. So the 2-2 from Blake Espinal as he will check the runner back and deliver the pitch, and that's going to be a half-hearted check swing, and they're going to advance the runner here as nobody was covering third, so throwing on to first for the first out of the inning there is Corey Acton, and Dante Williams moves up to be just 90 feet away.
Yeah, what happened there was that ball was hit way too softly to even have a shot at making the play over at third.
Number
So
8, the third baseman.
Noisy kind of had no
Schmidt.
choice but to glove it and just make the strong throw to first. So this is going to be a huge at bat in this game if Casey Schmidt can get a ball into the outfield, but the infield playing all the way in and try to cut that runner down at the plate on a ground ball.
So they will play to avoid the run here. Adam Oviedo standing in the on-deck circle for now. We'll see whether or not his services are actually employed. As Casey Schmidt digs in here for a fourth time today. He reached on a single and a walk and then flew out back in the fourth inning. Espinal sets the first pitch and a swing and a miss as he gets Casey Schmidt to climb the ladder.
One quick note coming from that Falmouth big inning, it was actually a grand slam from Baron Radcliffe that really broke it open. That capped off the 6th run inning for the Commodores.
So Espinal here trying to work out of a little bit of trouble. The left-handed pitcher with a 7.7 ERA coming into this game. 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. He will get this one fouled off by Casey Schmidt, and that's pretty big as he's just 1 out or 1 pitch away from getting the second and most crucial out of the inning.
And I also failed to mention that we are in the 5th inning of that game. Baron Radcliffe has 6 RBIs.
Yeah, he may not be done yet. Still a few at-bats coming up here for Radcliffe, so we'll see what he's got in store. So with an 0-2 count, Blake Espinal will look to retire Casey Schmidt for the second out of the inning. See where he decides to locate this one as the pitch is on its way. That will miss low and inside. Good block by Pat Winkle. Schmidt, of course, on the season, hitting .250. Also has been used as a pitcher this year, 4.5 ERA through 10 innings of work. So one of those guys that is very trusted, can go both ways for you. But here he's been relied upon for the bat, and he'll have an 0-2 count on him as Espinal will bring the pitch home. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's going to be out number 2 in the inning. 1 more left to get.
Yeah, not a great swing there from Schmidt. Looked like that pitch started outside and only got further out, and he was just kind of late on it. I don't know exactly what he was seeing there, but he must have kind of misread the break on that one. And now all of a sudden, Blake Espinal could find a way to get out of this inning. Of course, that runner at first wasn't his, so
Number 6, the shortstop.
he's done a great job of minimizing the damage and could come out of this with a chance to give the Mariners an opportunity to score 1 run and tie it in the 9th.
So here comes Adam Oviedo. First pitch on its way to him, and that one will miss high for ball 1. For the Harwich Mariners in the 9th, it'll be Christian Fedko, Nico Cavadas, and Pat Winkle. 2 up for the Mariners. They've already used Joey Weimer, who would have been their best option off the bench. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. That one's going to be in there for a called strike, and the count is even here at 1-1.
Oviedo back in the 2nd inning was in a play that potentially altered the path of this game, as the Kettleers already had 1 home in the inning and a runner on first, but he was called for interference on a throw down to second, forcing the runner Casey Schmidt to return to first, and they would not score again in the inning.
The 1-1, that's going to miss high and well outside. Good stab there by Pat Winkle. So with the 2-1 count, Oviedo will focus up and try to drive in an insurance run. The Cotuit Kettleers leading the Harwich Mariners here at White House Field by a score of 1-0 here in the top half of the 9th. Oviedo stands in the 2-1 pitch. That's going to be taken up the middle, and another run's going to score. So coming across is Dante Williams. It's going to be an RBI single for Oviedo, and that is the 2nd run of the Cotuit afternoon as they have taken a 2-0 lead.
Yep, and that's one way to patch things up with your teammates in the dugout after making a mistake back in the 2nd. Oviedo with a clutch piece of 2-out hitting dropping the ball right over Christian Fedko's head into right center field, and now a huge insurance run, making the
Number
task
47,
to come back in
Matt
this game
Mervis.
that much harder. And we're actually going to have the pitcher bat for himself, as Matt Mervis will be batting in the DH spot for Christian Robinson.
So Mervis comes in here. The pitcher will stand in from the right side. Runner goes, and swinging at the first pitch was Matt Mervis. Let's take a look really quickly at what Mervis has done in the batter's box. He's actually had 25 at-bats this year, and he is hitting .320. Listed as an infielder, and he's gotten plenty of reps there in addition to what he brings to the table as a pitcher. You mentioned he was in the cleanup spot the last time these two teams met. So a lot of comfort over there as Espinal will check the runner back to first. Harwich looking to keep things right where they're at as they currently trail by 2, and they would take that into the bottom of the 9th. Runner takes off, big jump. Winkle's going to have to go down in the dirt to block it, so it's going to be another stolen base here against Blake Espinal as Adam Oviedo moves up 90 feet.
Oviedo with his 3rd steal of the season in 4 attempts, as he's looking to try to put himself in a position to score on a base hit from Mervis.
Here comes the 1-1 pitch. That'll miss high and inside. The count here to 2-1 on Matt Mervis.
Looks like it's going to be Mervis's game in the 9th to close out. He would be credited with that 3-out save. He's able to do so.
Here comes the 2-1. That one's going to be raked hard down the right field line. It's hooking foul, and it will drop on the right side of the chalk line there. So no harm, no foul. The count is 2-2 here on Matt Mervis.
For the Mariners, it would be the heart of the lineup due up next inning if they want to try to come back in this one. Fedko, Cavadas, and Pat Winkle scheduled to bat. We'll see if Coach Engler decides to let those 3 bat in their natural positions or bring in a pinch hitter or 2.
Espinal sets. Here comes the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, and the inning is finally over, but not before Cotuit puts up one of their own. It'll be Harwich trying to get it back here for one last time as we go to the bottom of the 9th here at White House Field on the Mariners Radio Network. Back here to White House Field one last time as the Harwich Mariners will look to regain what has been a bit of a lost effort today. They're down 2-0 here to the Cotuit Cavaliers, a team that they want to face off again again tomorrow. That game will be at Lowell Park. It's a home and home here with the Cotuit Cavaliers, and then the tour of the Western Division continues as Harwich will play their game following that against another Western Division foe. That one will be coming against, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, yes, it will be a road trip to Wareham. Face the Wareham Gatemen and then play Bourne right here at White House Field. Then a road trip to YD and a home game against Hyannis to round out the West for the rest of the year. So here comes Christian Fedko leading things off here in the 9th inning as Harwich is down to their final 3 outs. Mariners trailing by 2. Cotuit trying to capitalize on that insurance run, and I believe it's Matt Mervis back out here for another inning here for the Kettleers. First pitch from Mervis is going to be in there for a strike to start things off.
So bad news for Cotuit, despite having this 2-0 lead, and that is that Wareham has taken the 3-2 lead as we get to the 7th inning stretch against the Bourne Braves.
0-1, that one's going to be hit by Fetko into the Harwich bullpen, which has been completely cleaned out at this point. So the 0-2 coming up here on Fetko, who's falling behind. Harwich looking for some late inning heroics to try to salvage a game here. Mervis working out of the windup. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. And that one is going to miss just off the plate. So Fetko will live to fight another pitch here. It's 1-2.
We've seen a lot of patience out of Christian Fetko over the last couple of days. He's had a few games this past week where he's had multiple walks. And right now he's just tasked with getting on base and bring the tying run to the plate.
So here comes the 1-2 pitch. Fetko is going to swing on this one and foul it away. So he lives to fight another one off. This count stays 1-2. Mariners down to their final 3 outs here in the bottom of the 9th at White House Field. Cotuit with a 2-0 lead. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Fetko, and he will check his swing. They appeal, and what is that? The first base umpire is going to call Christian Fetko out from down the first base line. He barely moved his bat, and again, I don't generally disagree with umpires, folks. You've been listening to me all season long. But that was just a travesty of a call by Tom Ryberg.
It seems like all the way around the umpiring crews had themselves a tough night. And that's one of those where it looked like it was kind of close, but at the same time, it seemed like Fetko didn't break his wrists at all.
First pitch here will miss outside to Nico Cavada. Start to wonder whether Tom Ryberg's dinner's getting cold at home. So it'll be a 1-0 count here on Nico Cavadas. He will swing through that one to even the count up at 1-1.
Cavadas trying to avoid going hitless in back-to-back games after that lengthy hit streak he had.
Mervis comes set. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. That one will miss off the plate, and count will go to 2-1 here. Mervis ready with the 2-1 pitch. That one will miss high, and Cavadas has worked himself into a pretty favorable count here. He finds himself way ahead.
It's good to see some selective at-bats from the Mariners as they have struck out in 4 consecutive at-bats against Mervis.
Here comes the 3-1. That one is going to be in there for a called strike 2, and the count is full here on Nico Cavadas.
Yep, all you need is a base runner right now. As much power as Cavadas has, he just needs to get on base and keep the line moving with 1 away.
Here comes the payoff. That one's going to be fouled away, and Nico Cavadas will live to fight another pitch here. With a full count, Matt Mervis trying to close things out for the Cotuit Kettleers.
Right now, Reed Johnston in line for the win after a 6 shutout inning performance.
Here comes the payoff, and Cavadas will foul that one back as well. So continuing just to battle, and we've seen him be so aggressive this year, and even during the hitting streak, he was striking out quite a bit. But that was a very big positive thing for Harwich, not the strikeouts, but the fact that he was being aggressive as it allowed him to hit in 11 straight games. Trying to continue that success here at White House Field. The payoff pitch, and he will pop this one high in the air, and losing it is the catcher Cody Pasek. So Harwich catches a break there, and it's going to be a full count again here. The 8th pitch of the AB coming up for Nico Cavadas.
There's a decent amount of space from in between the second baseman and the shortstop. It looks like a lot of opportunity for Cavadas to find a gap if he's able to hit one into that right center field area.
So we'll see if Harwich Can't come out here. Swing and a miss. Nico Cavadas goes right through that one, and Harwich is down to their final out. And really quickly, Colin, the last 5 guys have gone down via the K, as Matt Mervis has been just doing his worst.
And that's 6 strikeouts now in 8 outs recorded, so it's not even letting the Mariners put a lot of balls in play, and Mariners find themselves down to their final out, trying to avoid dropping back-to-back games.
So the final out is represented here by Pat Winkle, who is 0 for 3 today, has a strikeout, a flyout, and a ground out. Here comes the first pitch to him, and he will foul that away to fall behind here 1-0.
It's another start from Antonio Menendez that, for his sake, he won't get the... Well, he's actually going to get credit with the loss in this one because he gave up the 1 run, and Mariners unable to destroy that run deficit, and then an insurance run on the top of the 9th on a single from Oviedo, and now Mervis finds himself just a couple of strikes away from giving Cotuit a much-needed victory. Be their first victory against an Eastern Conference team on the road since the first week of the season.
Harwich trying to avoid that fate, as the 0-1 is going to be swung on and missed, and Pat Winkle falls behind here 0-2 to a guy who has struck out almost every hitter that he's faced so far today. He's looking for one more to close out this one. The Cotuit fans getting into it here, clapping it up a bit for their pitcher. Here comes the 0-2 pitch, and that one's going to be, wow. I don't know if that was a makeup call, because it looked like that was right down the middle. It's going to be called a ball.
And some split opinions up and down the sidelines from that one.
So it'll be a 1-2 count here. Pat Winkle has found some new life, and now he'll call time and step back out. Here comes the 0-2, swung on and missed, strike 3, and that'll do it. Pat Winkle down on strikes, and the game is over. It'll be a 2-0 victory here for the Cotuit Cavaliers on the road. When we come back, we will be right here to wrap it up after this. You've listened to this one on the Harwich Mariners Radio Network.
As always, we'd like to thank you.
And welcome back one last time, folks, to White House Field, and the Harwich Mariners drop back-to-back games now as they fall to the Cotuit Kettleers by a final score of 2-0. Mariners unable to get any run support from a pretty solid start out of Antonio Menendez, as Mariners just mustering 2 hits without scoring any runs. They did not commit any errors, left 4 men on base. Cotuit, in a winning effort, 2 runs on 7 hits. They did commit 2 errors and left 8 men on base, but big difference maker, the second inning solo home run off the bat of University of Arizona's Dante Williams. That made it 1-0 at the time, and then an insurance run in the 9th inning after a leadoff single from Williams. He would steal second and then come around to score on an RBI single from Adam Oviedo, the 9-hitter, picking up an RBI, and that was all the offense in this one. A pretty big pitcher's duel throughout. Win in this game goes to Reed Johnston after a gem from the NC State product. He went 6 innings pitched, giving up just 2 hits, no runs allowed, walked 2, and struck out 4. Loss goes to Antonio Menendez. He falls to 0-2 on the season, but Menendez had a very good start for the second consecutive game. He goes 6 1/3, allowing 1 earned run on 5 hits, walked 3, struck out 4. And the save in this one, it's the first of the season for Matt Mervis. Mervis goes 3 strong innings, giving up no hits and runs, struck out 7, including the final 6 batters he faced, striking out the side in the 8th and 9th innings, respectively. So the Harwich Mariners fall to 12-15 on the season, as they will remain a game back for that final wild card spot in the East, with the Brewster Whitecaps falling to Yarmouth earlier today, 5-3. As for Cotuit, a win for the time being puts them ahead of Wareham in the Western Division for first place, but Wareham with a 3-0 lead in the top of the 8th. Other scores around the league in this, I'm trying to remember what night it is. I believe it is a Thursday night of baseball, but Falmouth Commodores with an 11-2 lead over the Chatham Anglers, and the other game taking place in the bottom of the 8th. Another pitcher's duel. Hyannis Harborhawks and Orleans Firebirds scoreless through 7.5. So once again, for all of us here at the Harwich Mariners broadcast team, for our producer Matt Lucy, for my broadcast partner Tyler Henry, I'm Colin Casey. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you tomorrow afternoon when the Harwich Mariners head to Cotuit to complete the home-and-home series and try to get some revenge on the Kettleers. But for now, that is all for tonight, and we will see you tomorrow night. Thanks for tuning in, and everyone have a great night.